nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Brian Kelly with your headlines. Today is Election Day. The polls are open until 8 p.m. To see a sample ballot or to find out where your polling place is, go to myvote.wi.gov. Voters in Wisconsin can register at the polls. Just bring your photo ID and proof of residency, such as a utility bill or bank statement with your address on it. If you or anyone you know has a problem voting today, call Election Protection as soon as possible at 866-OUR-VOTE. That's a toll-free number, 866-OUR-VOTE. When polls close tonight, come out and celebrate with the Devil's Advocates. You can join Dom and Crute at Regano's Roman Coin on Brady Street beginning at 8 p.m. tonight for a Resistance Watch Party. Peninsula State Park in Door County is getting a new observation tower that will be accessible to everyone thanks to a planned 850-foot ramp leading up to the tower. The Bucks were off last night. They set over a 4-game road trip tonight in Portland. For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Election Day, everyone!
It's going to be a huge election today. I can't wait.
Big show! Fired up!
Who's that guy?
Oh, we got a guest in right off the top, man. Who let this guy in the door?
We are honored to be joined in the Brady Street studios by our buddy, Fightin' Joe Zepecki.
Today and every day. We're fighting the man, Rudy.
Yeah, fighting the man. Joe, welcome. Always a pleasure to see you. What an exciting day today.
I love Election Day, man. I got to say. It's like Christmas and Thanksgiving and the 4th of July and Memorial Day, and your birthday, all rolled into one.
I made the mistake of early voting. And, not that I discourage others from early voting. But in 2014, I early voted for Mary Burke. And it took all the joy.
Did you wish you could have that vote back?
No, but it took all the joy out of Election Day. I couldn't go down and check the lines and get a read on the electorate down at the polling place. I always like to do that.
Is that why you're a little down today, Crudy?
No, I was quite impressed. It was like presidential level turnout in Middleton this morning. When I got in line, I'm always A to G, it's always a longer line. I don't know. Invariably, must be more A to Gs in Middleton. Long line, out of the back of the room. And it took about 30 minutes. And they were even walking through and verifying wards to make sure everyone was in the right place. I did see one older lady came walking in. And I mean, older. I don't feel bad in describing her as such. Ancient, more accurate. But she looked around and you could tell she had that... oh, that's a big line sort of look in her face. And I looked at the polling lady and I'm like, hey, this one's getting away. And then I took a
few people could have let her pass,
Well, I took another look at her and thought, probably a Scott Walker supporter. But you never can tell. I hate to prejudge people at the polling place.
But he's going to anyway.
But anyways, lady had an appointment at 9:30, and this was a little before 8:30, But much like my little buddy, she didn't know it was daylight savings. She was a little confused. They had to verify the time for her, and then she felt comfortable that she had time to vote. And it was about half an hour. That is longer, I think, than I waited in any presidential, not 08, 16, or 12.
Well, I heard 30% Dane County turnout as of 11 a.m.
Yep.
That is very close to presidential level turnout.
Past presidential level. Cap Time is reporting.
Yeah. So far, so good, man.
That's pretty good.
And we've already learned today that in Middleton there are more A through Gs, and that's the kind of insight and analysis you can only get on Resistance Radio.
Joe, did you make it to
And
short?
the only snark?
No, only snark will be plenty
Well,
of
the snark is...
I have no doubt.
It will continue throughout the day.
What was your experience? Did you go vote already today, Joe?
No, I voted early.
Oh, you did
I
vote
voted a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I like getting it out of the way in case I get hit by a bus, then my vote still counts.
I jumped in, tried to get in. Polls opened at 7, got in about 10 after 7. Big line. I wasn't waiting in line. Went back to the crib, ate some breakfast, took a shower, came back to the studio or to the polling place, and then had no issue an hour or two later.
You know, I was a little hesitant today to wake and bake.
Why?
Well, I didn't want to get caught on the way to the polling station and get arrested because currently marijuana is illegal in the state of Wisconsin. But we are wearing our colors.
Madison Normal.
And I have my
Smoke
Smoking
Wisconsibly.
Wisconsibly. This is a wonderful T-shirt.
Yeah, it's the wrong color, though, for today.
It's the correct color. It's the beautiful Badger Red. This state, Badger Red, man.
On
Not
Saturday.
Republican
On
red.
Saturday.
Hey, I'm not going to fight with you guys about this. Red's my color. I'm wearing red. I'm happy about this T-shirt.
He's
I
secretly
voted
a
yes on the
Republican.
cannabis referendum this morning. There wasn't a difficult vote on the ballot today, and I can't always say that. Sometimes it's very hard, like 16 was for me.
When I thought Crute, looking at that ballot referendum question about cannabis, that's the one I thought was going to stump him, and he was going to sit there for a few minutes really hemming and hawing.
Regulate, taxate, legalize for adults 21 and over. Last question on the first page. Legalize marijuana. I voted yes. And then I turned over my ballot in Dane County. And, you know, I had nothing but friends. You know, I got Mark Pocan. I got Tammy Baldwin. I got John Erpenbach. Although I do know the other guy. I'm a friend of his as well. He's the Jesus Lunch guy, Casey Hellbach.
I didn't realize that's who was running against Senator Erpenbach.
Diane Hesselbein, unopposed, as was Pocan. Dave Mahoney, like I'm not going to vote for Dave for sheriff of Dane County. I voted for Dave. Yes on marijuana. And then I had to turn it over. Big-ass referendums. Schools. Always a referendum for the schools. And we were even talking about that. Like, my kid seemed like an informed voter on the topic earlier today.
Good.
My wife as well. I didn't even know there was a referendum on the schools.
It's almost like we haven't had an education governor for the last 8 years. Imagine that.
Yeah, but at least he didn't raise the taxes, right?
I think they want to build new facilities in Middleton.
How did
Another
you vote
elementary
on
school.
the referendum?
You know, the first one, can we exceed ongoing revenue caps? I said yes. That was actually technically the second referendum. The first one, should we spend $143 million building more facilities in Middleton? I'm like, my only qualm, little inside baseball. Right now, the school where my kids went, very diverse. Ethnically diverse. It was financially diverse. People from some of the upper crust neighborhoods in Middleton, their kids went to school with my kids. I live in a working class neighborhood. And then there were a lot of rental properties, a lot of kids from different economic backgrounds sharing, and wonderful school. Great teachers. Loved it. Now they're talking about building a different facility over for the rich kids.
So you're worried that that'll sort of bifurcate the town.
Well, my kids are out of, I mean, it's not about my kids any longer. Maybe my property values, but
Hey, they're all our kids.
yeah.
It's election day. They're all our kids. Vote like it. Oh my God. We've been on the air for like 5 minutes. We haven't even told people. Hey, if you're listening and you haven't voted yet, go vote. That's what we're talking about.
Come on, our entire audience has already voted or has good intent to vote later in the day when they get done with work.
Well, then what the heck am I doing here?
I don't know why.
I
Why
thought I
are
was
you
here to
Joe?
help encourage people to go
I
vote.
thought you were bringing beer.
What? No beer,
On
Joe?
Friday afternoons when I come on the show, there's beverages along
It's
for the
election
ride.
day.
But
it's
you-
a celebration of our right to vote. It's always beer time on
Good
Oh,
election.
I
day.
got fireworks in the trunk.
Yeah, nice.
Good day for some day drinking. Joe, you're dressed as if you've got some TV appearances, some other fine media appearances later in the day.
I do. Unfortunately, this face for radio will be appearing throughout the evening on WTMJ4 in Milwaukee.
Well, just in case our audience, either at the party down at the Roman Coin,
Come on down.
or for those that have to work tomorrow or school or whatever, maybe at their own homes, watching on WTMJ. Let's play a little game show. You often do it on this radio program, I understand. Let's pick a little
We're really
inside.
breaking the fourth wall here.
Let's you say a little vocabulary word that everyone in the audience knows. It's just for their sake, Devil's Advocates audience, and when they hear that word, they should drink.
Well, I won't. I can't pick the word. That's the rule.
You can't
So
pick
you
the-
guys can give me a word.
The devil's advocates. I don't want to play. I'm just going to play devil's advocates here. Quote, Right? Nice,
Sure.
easy one. All right? I like that one.
On
And
Real
then a little
Resistance
wink to the
Radio
camera.
between 3 and 6 p.m. Unless it's 2 to 4:30.
You can squeeze that one in
Yeah,
there, right? Yeah.
I'll
right,
be
no
on at
problem.
4 o'clock.
Or
I'll be
some
on-
variant thereof.
Yeah, in the 8 o'clock hour and in the 10 o'clock hour. And I'll be on BBC Radio later tonight as well.
Now the polls close in Wisconsin at 8. Our
8
little
p.m.
soiree down the road here at the Roman Coin, that's going to start, at least officially, at about 8:01.
See, you guys really butchered that. You got to put 8:01 on the thing. When Brian announced earlier, he said it starts at 8 o'clock. No. You got to start it at 8:01 because at 8 o'clock you can still get in line to vote.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Joe.
Thank you,
Thank you
Joe.
for that chastisement on the air. I think it's super swell when people correct us on live radio.
I'm not here to get
That's-
people out to vote. I'm here to
Right,
give you a
right.
hard time.
Whatever you do, don't tune in to TMJ. I hear they got sloppy seconds over there. Whew.
Sloppy seconds. No, Joe Zepecki, he is a Dem strategist. He's the owner of Zepecki Communications. He joins us
He'll be
in studio.
sloppy later. Now he's
Joe, I got to ask
shining
you,
and bright.
what's your impression right now? I mean, we've seen some of the early numbers seem higher. Do you have a gut feel? What kind of expertise can you provide our audience with this election cycle?
I feel very, very good right now. Turnout is up in places we want it to be up. And that's
Where is that?
Dane County.
Yup.
Here in Milwaukee, we're hearing good reports about the early numbers from this morning. When people vote, Democrats win. And given everything that's going on right now, the mood of the country, the mood of the electorate, all of the political dynamics at play, it's cliche to say, well, it all comes down to turnout, but that really is what it all comes down to. And I think that you are seeing younger voters, women voters, come out in droves in ways that is not typical for a midterm election. And I think that's going to be part of the driving force behind a very, very good night for Democrats.
Joe, your final appearance sometime after 10 on TMJ?
Yeah, in the 10 o'clock
Television,
hour.
TMJ4.
Yep, TMJ4. So
We'll call that the good TMJ.
that's right. So I'm looking at a couple of different sort of key numbers tonight. Number one, and I went back and looked at the 2014, not only overall results, but the exit polls. So in 2014, women were 51% of the electorate. I'd like to see that number a little bit higher tonight. I think it will be. I think if we get to 53% or more of the electorate being women, that is very good for Democrats.
How about younger kids? Any thoughts there?
Where's my cheat sheet here? So 4 years ago, 18 to 29-year-olds made up 18% of the electorate. Burke won that group by 4 points. I think Evers will win it by more, and I think that number will be higher than 18.
I'd like to see a 420% increase in that demographic. What about the cannabis referendum? One of our inferior competitors over on Righty Whitey Talk Radio did a Facebook poll, Joe. Legalize it. Whitey Righty Talk Radio, it was about 70% for legalization.
Resistance Radio, changing hearts and minds all over Wisconsin.
You know, you used to resent us for our affinity
I voted yes.
for the cannabinoids. Well, you better have
You
voted
changed
yes.
you changed my mind. I voted
See?
yes.
Well done, Joe.
Come back with us. The best dressed pro-legalization crew, and Joe Zepecki in radio. More on the other side's Devil's Advocates Real Resistance Radio. It's not election day. It's a party day.
RELAX.
We don't need to imagine the challenges our state faces. We live them every day. This is former State Representative Mandela Barnes. I'm running to be your next Lieutenant Governor. And whether it's more access to affordable health care, or clean water, or better jobs, or wanting the best schools for our kids, there's only one candidate for governor who will get results: Tony Evers. That's what Tony's done as a teacher and as state superintendent of public schools. I've seen Tony's character and his passion to do what's right for kids. I've seen Tony Evers listen to the concerns and problems of people around the state, and I've worked with him to find solutions to those problems. Isn't that what we need? 8 years is enough of Scott Walker and his failed politics of division. We need a governor who cares about all of us. We need a governor who's concerned about the next generation, not just the next election. It's time for a change. That's why Tony for Wisconsin paid for this ad.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, Real Resistance Radio, streaming on YouTube and on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And of course, you can always check out podcasts and interviews of this fine show at realresistanceradio.com.
I think we're under hack attack from the Russians or something. Sorry for those of you streaming. We're back up. You'd know that if you were streaming currently. I hope you still are. So anyways, aside from a few Garys and Gremlins,
Wait,
Joe...
The Gremlins are named Gary?
Anything that goes bad is attributable to Gary.
Okay.
Gary is sort of a catch-all.
Got it.
What's the likelihood or probability we could have a Gary this evening? And this could not be the electoral outcome we are hoping for in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, listen, 2 years ago on Election Day, everybody assumed that Hillary Clinton was going to be the 45th president of the United States. Everybody assumed.
David Plouffe guaranteed us 100%, Joe, on our show.
Everybody assumed that she would carry Wisconsin. Everybody assumed that former Senator Russ Feingold would defeat U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. Here's the thing, folks. Polls don't vote. Dynamics don't vote. People have to go out and vote. And I hope that every single one of your listeners already has. But if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Get your butt in line. Go vote.
You know, Eric Holder in this little studio today, at least the second biggest guest in this studio today, behind you, of course, Joe.
Obviously.
The former Attorney General of the United States in town. Yesterday, Tom Perez in town. A lot of emphasis being put on the Wisconsin electoral outcomes. Joe, why is Wisconsin so important on the electoral map?
Well, I mean, if let's take a step back to 2016, right? I mean, where did Donald Trump win the election? He won it in states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
He was here a lot.
Those were the three states that, what was formerly known as the Blue Wall came tumbling down, and that got him over 270. In order for Democrats to compete nationally, we have to make inroads again in the Midwest. And we have a real opportunity to do that. Not just here in Wisconsin, but if you look at Kansas, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, or Illinois, around the Midwest, there's opportunities to flip gubernatorial seats. In Kansas, there's 4 congressional districts. Democrats might win 2 of them tonight. So a lot of eyes on the Midwest nationally. And obviously, given the profile he has, Scott Walker is one of those who national folks are paying attention to. So those are some of the reasons that you've had these high-profile surrogates.
And Joe, does it still always come down to the Milwaukee media market, which of course includes the WOW counties, the extension of Milwaukee County? But historically, I mean, look at Leah Buchmer. Look at Ted Cruz, the primaries in the state of Wisconsin. Ted Cruz won 1 media market. Right-wing talk radio said, don't vote for Trump, vote for Ted Cruz. And Republicans did. And then, of course, they came home for Donald Trump because right-wing talk radio changed its stripes and spots and said, come home for Donald Trump. Well, of course, Leah Buchmer's out there on right-wing talk radio. Trump's not on right-wing talk radio in Wisconsin today. But Scott Walker's been filthy on righty-whitey talk radio for the last 2 days. What about the power of righty-whitey talk radio in this media market? Is it still a determining factor, Joe?
I don't think it's what it used to be. And that's one of the really, really interesting things that I'm going to be watching tonight is what does the lack of a Charlie Sykes, as the big shoulders in conservative talk radio do to that WOW County vote for Republicans, and even in the Milwaukee County burbs, right? The further out of the city you go, the more Republicans you tend to have. I don't think it's going to be possible to say if Republicans underperform there, it was only because of that, given what we see out of the White House every day and the way that particularly suburban women are reacting to that. But it's a factor, I should say. The fact that right-wing talk radio is not what it used to be. It's still a problem, but I think you're going to see better numbers for Democrats out of Waukesha, Ozaukee, and Washington tonight than you have in a couple election cycles. I also think it's overly simplistic to say it all comes down to the Milwaukee media market. Dane County or the Madison media market is about 19-20% of the statewide vote. Up northeast part of the state, the Green Bay media market, 18-19% of the statewide vote. And those two are the ones I named because they're polar opposites, right? Evers and Baldwin are going to run up huge margins in the Madison media market, but Walker and Buchmer are going to do really, really well in the northeast. So what we're really looking at is how many net votes you're getting out of those home bases.
Joe, we talk often because we were stunned to learn 81 right-wing talk radio stations in the state of Wisconsin cranking out 235 hours a day of righty-whitey propaganda, and a big part of that, Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. And those two guys stumping in Missouri on the stage with the president yesterday. I believe El Rushbo introduced the POTUS to the Missouri crowd yesterday. I think Sean Hannity also made an appearance on stage.
We're not supposed to worry about that, though, because Fox News executives are really, really disappointed.
But set aside the Fox News part. Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh are the 2 most powerful right-wing talk radio hosts in this nation, Joe.
Well, they're presidential advisors. Of course they are.
I guess here's my point.
There you go. That's it.
In 81 different markets today, they're hearing Rush Limbaugh. All across the state of Wisconsin, they're hearing Rush Limbaugh brag about what it was he did last night at the Trump rally and what he saw at the Trump rally and how he inspired the people at the Trump rally. And to hear Donald Trump tell it and to hear Rush Limbaugh tell it, there is an unbelievable amount of enthusiasm behind Donald Trump, and he has nationalized this election, and he's been on the road. He's been doing rallies all around the nation, Joe.
He's not on the ballot, but he kind of is. Just ask him. And you know what? I'm fine with that, because I think today is when America tells him what they really feel about him.
I think the audience quite fine that you did the Donald Trump and not me for a change. Come back with us. That's Joe Zepecki. We are the Devil's Advocates. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio. It's an election day. Go vote and then hop back in the car. We'll be talking till the party starts tonight. About 8:01, go vote first, and then come have a cold one. It's on us.
What's been going on while I've been gone?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. So, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only ordering classic corner tavern.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly. In an interview earlier today on the Forum with Sherwin Hughes, former Attorney General Eric Holder had a strong message for non-voters.
John Lewis got his skull cracked on the Edmund Pettus Bridge so that we'd have the right to vote. 3 civil rights workers died in Mississippi so that we would have the right to vote. The Selma to Montgomery March was all about getting people the right to vote. You dishonor that legacy if you do not go out and vote. There's a debt that we owe to those people. Without those people, there'd be no Eric Holder, there'd be no Barack Obama. The debt that we owe to them can only be repaid by voting.
Tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and windy, highs in the low 40s. And Thursday, mostly sunny, highs around 40. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Election Day edition. Got a fine guest in the Brady Street studios. He's Joe Zepecki, a fine Dem strategist, Zepecki Communications LLC. See him later on the televisions with WTMJ 4. He's providing election night coverage. They get sloppy seconds. We got them first.
Oh, I'm just
right here.
This is like the pregame. I'm just warming up here, right?
We're the first date.
Like fresh off the bus, we got you. Joe, I went to the final dim rally last night in Madison at the Majestic. It was pretty crowded. I'd say 300 plus.
Okay. It was Tony's birthday party, right?
Tony's little birthday soiree.
Happy birthday, Tony Evers.
Tony did well last night, I hear, after 4 or 5 speeches. And I'm being literal. He gets better during the course of the day. And I saw the speech last night, and I thought, it's about as good as I've seen Tony.
It takes a while to warm up.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps the entirety of the elective cycle, and Tony's warmed up. Well, at least he's peaking at the right time. Tammy Baldwin seemed quite strong last night. I think that I'm feeling quite comfortable in that race. Leah Vukmir, the Republicans lost the chance to beat Tammy Baldwin the day they put Leah Vukmir out front, to my opinion.
Well, they voted for her.
They got what they got coming, and that's going to be an ass whooping tonight. The big question in my mind, and Mandela's gotten stronger, and, nice to see Mark Pocan last night. But, of course, it was all about Tony, and it was his birthday last night. And what if people think we got this one wrapped up, Joe, and it's in the bag, and, they, instead of going home or going to the voting place, they stop at the bar, or they go straight to the liquor store like Dom would, and
number one,
forget the vote.
Nothing is wrapped up. Nothing is over until we decide it is. Number two, let's do a little thought experiment, right? Let's go down the line here.
Don't make it hurt too much,
and talk about what tomorrow looks like, if we fall short or if we win. Like, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Nothing changes tomorrow.
Christmas music.
I thought that was the day after Thanksgiving, not the day after the election.
No, that's what they did in Madison in 2016. On Election Day, they flipped the signal to Christmas music.
Oof, that's a tough look.
Don't push your luck, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
But this is a great thought exercise, Joe. Let's continue down that path. Here's my point. Nothing changes tomorrow. I mean, whether or not, your person wins or doesn't win, or your party wins or doesn't win, nothing will change tomorrow.
That'll be a huge change. If Scott Walker loses, that is a huge change.
Nothing changes tomorrow. Nothing changes tomorrow.
Well,
attitudinally, things change.
Attitudinally. And let me tell you, when you look at what happened in North Carolina in 2016 in the lame duck with the Republican governor and the Republican legislature and what they did in their lame duck, this could be a very different ball game tomorrow. Right? For Governor Walker, it is I think, going to be a very different ballgame for President Trump tomorrow.
Time for vengeance all around?
I hope not, and I think that people are going to have to watch very closely to make sure that we're holding people accountable. That if the voters speak and send a resounding and clear message tonight, they better watch it.
That wouldn't stop the Republicans in the state of Wisconsin from slamming through some unpopular legislation during the lame duck. They haven't listened to the people before. What makes you think they would start now?
Kimberly Clark's just a start.
Well, the legislatively, that stuff can be undone, right? It's stuff that tends to be a little bit more out of view, right? Administratively, policies within the executive branch. That's the stuff that I'm concerned about. And I just feel like it's a possibility. So what we have to do is send the loudest, clearest signal possible, which is why I don't care if you think we have this in the bag yet. You still got to go vote.
Go pile on.
Go pile on. It's going to make you feel big and strong.
A pile on would be an excellent thing.
Yeah. And tomorrow, when Donald Trump does something crazy to try and distract from the shellacking he got from coast to coast tonight, you will be able to. You won't have to sit there and go, "Oh, I can't stand this guy. I really wish I would have voted yesterday." So just go out and vote. It's easy, folks.
And, folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Joe Zepecki, here's my next question. When do you think the first Dem candidate declares their 2020 presidential candidacy? Will it be this week?
Well, let me ask for some refinement on your question. Do you mean a major top tier candidate?
Like one of the fine surrogates that have been through the state of Wisconsin of late, probably broadcast on Real Resistance Radio. I'm thinking Kamala Harris,
Cory
or
Booker, Elizabeth
Warren, or Bernie Sanders.
No.
Eric Holder.
No. None of them will announce this week. I don't think any of them will announce next week. I don't think any of them will announce until after Thanksgiving at the earliest, and it will probably wait until the new year. And I really believe that part of that is it's about to get even crazier than you imagined in Washington, D.C. What with Trump about to fire half the cabinet, including those overseeing the Mueller probe, this is going to get real nuts for a while. And I think all of those people we just named understand that there's not going to be oxygen, and we need to keep the attention focused on what's happening in D.C. during what's going to turn out to be a very critical time period.
I think you overestimate the field, Joe.
You brought up Mueller. Good point. Presumably he's been kind of holding serve here a little bit.
Yeah.
He could dump something out
as early as tomorrow.
Do you have any sense on what might happen? And if not tomorrow, certainly presumably before the end of the year.
Who gets indicted first from the Trump family? Will Jr. go down? I hear they're quite nervous, Joe.
If I was Roger Stone or Donald Trump Jr., I would make sure my affairs were in order.
That Kim Guilfoyle, I mean, Jr.'s dating a Fox News host. I guess she has taken a leave of absence or something of the sort. But, I mean, it's very incestuous between the Trump family and Fox News.
And state television? Go figure.
State television.
It is. That's what we should just, like...
Well, isn't Hope Hicks working over there?
You don't have to call it
now?
Fox anymore. You can just call it state-run TV. Everybody knows who you're talking about.
Could Nixon have survived Watergate with the benefit of Fox News?
Maybe. That one was tough because then you had Republicans who came in and said, we're gonna boot you. And I'd like to think that they still would have done that even if there was talk radio and state-run television.
Joe, what if Democrats win back the House of Representatives tonight? And I think that that's better than a coin flip. What if? Do you think there will be tremendous impetus from those that elected and turned it blue to go impeach? Do you think they'll want their pound of flesh from Donald Trump? And will that be perhaps to their detriment come 2020? Because we don't have enough votes in the Senate, not without something changing dramatically from where we sit today.
There may
a Mueller probe report.
There may be that desire. I don't think that we should jump to the conclusion that that is what should happen. One of the things that I've been actually really surprised by is that nothing that this president has done has even merited censure by the Congress, right? There are steps short of impeachment or removal from office whereby the legislative branch can hold the executive accountable. Under Paul Ryan and the Republicans, they have not done any of it.
A strongly written tweet, at least.
Sir, don't do that. And then I'm going to vote with you 100% of the time. That's how Paul Ryan is ending his career in Congress. And so one of the things that's really interesting to me is now Trump and Ryan are ostensibly fighting again, right? You've got Ryan saying he shouldn't be rewriting the Constitution by executive order, Trump firing back. Ryan should be focused on winning the House, not talking about things he doesn't know anything about. Is that break clean enough that with an incoming Democratic House majority, hopefully in January, Ryan will have the freedom to actually run the House the right way for the next 2 months before the gavel passes over?
What does that mean?
Yes,
with some accountability by
doubtful.
Has he
making
done
sure
that ever?
Republican members and voices are out there saying, no, don't fire Mueller, don't fire Rosenstein, don't fire Sessions.
I have no faith in the speaker.
I have no faith in any of the Republicans. They're scared to death of Donald Trump.
They have no moral compass, Joe. They've demonstrated that. The fact that he's allowed Devin Nunes to remain in his position heading up the Intelligence Committee, I mean, that just shows there is nothing that I would put past Paul Ryan at this point. He is corrupted to his soul.
Dom just said it, though. You think they're all afraid of Trump. What they are afraid of is power, and they are afraid of losing their own power. They are with Trump because they think that he's a winner. If he wakes up tomorrow a loser who has seen, a 30, 40, 50 seat wipeout in the House of Republicans, Donald Trump will be as chastened as he is capable of being, not in his own mind.
All
right? He's going to live in his own reality.
So Donald Trump's going to say, hell, I wasn't actually on the ballot, so,
And he went to 13 states over 15 days.
Concentrating on the Senate.
But now who's left, right? We went over this a little bit yesterday. If that many Republicans are kicked out of the House of Representatives, well, there's a concentration. The ones that are left are going to be even more conservative than the ones that have been removed. So
the
now
tyrannical minority.
Now you think they're going to break with Trump? He's going to be the only guy left supporting him.
I think a few of them, if you send a clear enough signal, they don't care about Trump. They actually didn't like Trump before he came along.
Sure.
They're only with him because he thinks that they can't survive primary challenges.
If
he is demonstrated to be politically weak, which I think this country is about to say to him, I think you will see people walk away.
You say that, but you didn't see the passion when Leah Vukmir kissed Trump.
Thus, we have a few more minutes. Joe, we touched briefly on the younger voters. Journal Sentinel had a piece talking about
youngins like yourself, Joe.
how they're so busy and it's so confusing. Joe, I mean, do you remember way back then when you were that young? Did you have that attitude? Were you always dialed in and
I was
motivated?
I was that kid who, when I was 14 years old, I spent the summer volunteering on a congressional campaign.
What do you say to those that are on the edges, maybe, want to, but, really not so interested?
I'm bullish on young people voting today. I'm saying the kids are all right. And if they're busy, you know what they're saying to themselves? Forget it. I'm not too busy for that. Shorewood High School students literally walked out of school today as a group and marched to their polling place. The young people and women, hopefully, are going to be the ones that save us all.
But, Joe, those are not the issues. The Parkland students, obviously, we know they're motivated to end gun violence or at least try to roll back the NRA and some of the pro-gun lobby money that colors our politics. Joe, I haven't heard much about the NRA of late.
I haven't heard much from them.
I'm just saying there are a few issues. The issue of women's reproductive rights. I mean, Brett Kavanaugh's on the court. Leah Vukmir would roll them back, as would Scott Walker, left to their own devices. Joe, how can that not be a front and center issue? Or do you think it has been, and I'm just looking in the wrong spots?
I think it has been. I think it quieted down for a couple weeks, but I got to tell you, man, the look on the face of the voter in Oklahoma today, the woman who walked out and talked to a camera afterward and said, I have voted for Republicans every single election of my life up and down the ticket. Today, I didn't vote for a single Republican, and I never will again. I'm voting for Democrats. Wow. And the reporter was like, why? What changed? She said, Kavanaugh changed everything. The expert opinions have said, Kavanaugh was a net win for conservatives, and that's what brought the base around. Their base was going to come home no matter what. What they did to that woman, get out and vote, ladies.
Joe Zepecki, if you want any chance for us to put WTMJ4 on the TV tonight at the party at the Roman Coin, you got to pick your, let's call it a safe word, a drink word. Joe, are you going to say the devil's advocates, or have we chosen something else?
Sure, we'll go with, if I say devil's advocates or devil or advocate, then you got to go.
All right,
then
there
you got
we
to
go.
Drink! Joe Zepecki, a fine dim strategist, our buddy from Zepecki Communications, LLC. See him on the televisions and maybe later at the party on Brady Street, the Roman Coin. Got a fine bar owner. She's Terry Regano. She joins us next from the Roman Coin, getting ready for a party and the Devil's Advocates tonight.
Thanks, Joe.
The American dream is dead.
Nothing is over until we decide it is.
This is Congresswoman Gwen Moore urging you to elect Josh Kaul for Wisconsin Attorney General. I met Josh Kaul 30 years ago as he was growing up. He became an experienced federal prosecutor, and now we need Josh as Wisconsin Attorney General to focus on preserving Wisconsin family safety, securing voting rights, ensuring decent, affordable health care, and protecting family-supporting jobs. Vote for Democrat Josh Kaul for Attorney General.
Paid for by Call for Attorney General.
In-person absentee voting is now available in the state of Wisconsin. I want to encourage you, go vote early. September 24th, voting begins in Milwaukee. Check with your city clerk to find out more. Vote now, because you never know what might come up on Election Day. Secure your vote early. The more people who vote early, the easier it will be on Election Day for voters who can't. So go vote, Wisconsin. The polls are open now. This message brought to you by our friends at Wisconsin Voices.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamster Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Here at Resistance Radio, we believe not only in exercising our right to vote, but also celebrating our right to vote. So go cast your vote on Tuesday, November 6th before the polls close at 8 p.m. Then join us for a political party at the Roman Coin on Brady Street in Milwaukee.
I drank beer with my friends.
If you think politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Join the crew at Resistance Radio for a barrel of beer and a barrel of fun at the Roman Coin starting at 8 p.m. Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. You can always join us on the phones at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we've been joined by a fine guest live in the Brady Street studios. First of all, thank you, Joe Zepecki, Zepecki Communications. Watch for his fine commentary on the TMJ4 on the Boob Tube tonight. And welcome our friend Terry Regano. She is the proprietor, the owner of the Roman Coin. And we welcome Terry into the studio. Terry, I haven't seen a woman that excited in my presence perhaps ever.
Is that so? That's kind of sad.
It is. My life is really sort of a sad story, Terry. You and the audience just don't have the time.
You have no idea.
Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Terry, you got your I voted sticker on. That's a good sign, a good start point.
I went at 10:30 this morning, and I was astounded at how many people were there.
Really?
My polling place was just jammed. Yeah.
And do you live locally here? Are you voting in Milwaukee?
I'm about 6 blocks away from where we are right now.
And this is a very dense part of the city, the Lower East Side.
I don't recall ever seeing this polling place so busy, even for a regular election.
Like a presidential for 2016?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it was busy, but it was really something this morning. Yeah.
So, Terry, I hear it's going to be really something this afternoon or this early evening. Let's call it about 8:01 p.m.
Yeah, that's the
I
plan.
hear the beer is going to be tapped and the floodgates are going to open. And we're going to the Roman Coin.
Yeah. Courtesy of you guys.
Well, we appreciate you supporting us, Terry. Your facility is one of my favorite Milwaukee bars. There's no doubt about it. You can bring your dog in.
Yep.
No food, cash only, but that's how we do it here in Milwaukee on the east side.
And you can order food in.
You can order food
anywhere.
I've seen people eat at your bar. I think I've been one of them.
So come down tonight if you get hungry. You can always order out some food. Plenty of fine restaurants here on Brady Street. Don't we know it? I think I gained a few pounds since I've been down here, Terry.
He is looking puffy, isn't he?
He's a little puffy. Terry, the Roman Coin, how long have you been doing it? It's a family business. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
My dad bought it in 1966, and it's been going ever since.
And it's been going ever since. Always.
It's just a corner tavern.
Just a corner tavern. Now, nowadays, though, you almost have to serve food, right? If someone goes and wants to open up a bar or restaurant down here in Milwaukee, do you
It's
have
encouraged
to
at least in this area, because it's so dense with bars and restaurants.
So your father bought it in 1966, and have you been there? Did you work? Were you the young kid coming up in the bar, working in the bar with Pa?
Not right at the beginning, but later on, yeah.
And what have you seen? We always talk politics in
I don't
bars.
know. Be careful. It is FCC regulated.
But the politics in bars, Crudy and I like to talk a lot of politics. We like to have a good time. And I've met a lot of friends at the Roman Coin over the years, and they're not all liberal or libertarian. There's some conservative, some Republicans.
Yeah.
It's a huge mix of people, but it's a neighborhood bar. How have you seen the conversation evolve, over the last couple of decades?
I think years ago it was discouraged to talk politics and religion, and I think as a whole, that's probably a good policy, but I think this recently, people they're talking not quite so maybe violently as they used to. Right. But I think they realize that talking sensibly, they might help to change somebody's opinion.
Well, I think one of the things that is nice about a neighborhood corner tavern like the Roman Coin is that it brings in so many people from walking distance. Again, very densely populated down here in Milwaukee's east side. And you end up meeting people and knowing people and engaging and liking people before you really know what the politics are.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden you find out and you're like, wait, what? That's not that makes no sense to me. How can you be Republican and vote for the marijuana legalization?
Exactly.
But they're out there.
Oh, yeah.
I had some drinks with them the other day.
I have a bartender.
You know what I'm talking about.
Terry, have you ever had to throw someone out for being too political in your bar?
I can't recall, Crudy.
No, but you were close one time, Crudy.
Yeah. I think, what it comes down to is if somebody's being really obnoxious and putting off other people, that would be with any subject.
I am a little prickly today, I'll warn you.
Are you?
I'm a little anxious. I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like a caged tiger or something. Days like today, I feel like, it's a referendum on my ideology, on my psyche in some way, shape, or form.
It's all about Crudy. Folks are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Terry Regano, owner of the Roman Coin. We're going there tonight. Have a party. Free beer, 801. Come down while supplies last.
You know what? That implies it's not all about me.
What? Terry, I got to ask you a very important question. As mentioned earlier, marijuana on the ballot as an advisory referendum for legalization. Now, want to get your take on the legalization of marijuana? And do you consider this being a competitor? If marijuana is legal, does that impact the bar industry, do you think?
I don't think so at all. I'm all for it. Personally, I'd rather deal with somebody who's high from smoking than some of the really obnoxious drunks that you have to deal with over the years. I don't think it's going to cause
If it was permissible, Terry, permissible under law, obviously, not just because nobody's watching, but would you allow marijuana smoking in your establishment if state law made provision for that?
Well, you can't smoke in a tavern anyway.
Yeah, but out in Colorado, they have opened up. What if it was vaping? Do you let people vape in the bar?
Yeah.
So what if they were dabs or whatever the kids are calling them when they vape them?
Yeah. What's the difference? I mean, if it's legal, why not?
If it's legal, why not?
I hope Tony Evers is listening. We are wearing our colors. We're encouraging people to vote all across the state of Wisconsin, Terry. There are referendums on the ballot today. Legalize cannabis for medical or recreational reasons. And even on righty-whitey talk radio, the inferior product down the dial, they were doing their in-house poll. I thought it was about 70% yes, legalize.
Really?
On Republican talk radio.
Okay. Well, I think it would only be an advantage to the state because of the taxes collected. I mean, look at what's happened in Colorado and Washington and
hundreds of millions of dollars coming into the state coffers. Perhaps $1 billion in gross revenue in new business, 16,000 jobs created. And Terry, you got a green thumb. This I know.
Yeah.
That might be right up your alley.
Gross up next to the oregano. Terry, want to ask one last serious question before we run out of time. And I'm so looking forward to the party starting at the Roman Coin about 8:01 this evening. But they closed the firehouse right here on Brady Street. We have seen a reduction in municipal services in the city of Milwaukee. And I didn't know till we started doing this radio program based out of Milwaukee. But Milwaukee gets very shortchanged on the state governmental level. And Republicans have villainized this city. This city sends $3 to Madison and only gets $2 back. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason, to my opinion, and of course priorities, but that's the reason why the firehouses are closing in Milwaukee. It's important to vote, and I guess I would say, as a local business owner, I would think you would want a firehouse on the street.
I went before the Common Council and protested them closing it because I was so adamant about, our need for it in the most densely populated part of the city.
and perhaps one of the most densely populated parts of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, if Republicans left to their own devices and the roles of power and governance, they'll keep screwing Milwaukee, and then there won't be any more fun parties at the Roman Coin. Terry Regano, thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you at the party. We'll be there a little bit early, but the beer starts flowing for freezies for all our adult friends at 8:01.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind.
Regano's Roman Coin.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
It's really radical.
If we turn out to vote, we can throw Republican Governor Scott Walker out of office this election, November 6th. What does Walker do to try to win? Lie and incite fear and hatred of immigrants with racist ads and messages. We're not going to let him. He's against driver's licenses for immigrants, in-state tuition for dreamers. He wants to eliminate health care coverage, including for pre-existing conditions. Republican Scott Walker is the same as Donald Trump. We have an alternative. Democrats Tony Evers and Mandela Barnes. They support driver's licenses, in-state tuition for dreamers, increased health coverage, and more funds for public schools. This election is tied. Every vote counts. Let's vote for our families and for our dignity. Vote for Democrats Tony Evers and Mandela Barnes for governor and lieutenant governor. Paid for by People for the American Way and Voces de la Frontera Action, independent of any candidate or candidate committee.
You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Security working. Voters turn out. I'm Mike Moss. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen says so far so good with election security during today's midterm elections.
I can confidently say that the 2018 elections will be the most secure election in the modern era. At this time, we have no indication of compromise to our nation's election infrastructure that would prevent voting, change vote counts, or distrust the ability to tally votes.
Undersecretary Christopher Krebs says states have gotten help where they've asked for it.
We have, within my organization and across DHS, over 300 personnel out in the field working closely with our state and local partners as they have asked for our help.
The turnout appears strong so far, and while there have been glitches, no major voting problems have been reported. More than 33 million Americans cast their votes early, including many in Texas, as we hear from correspondent Athena Jones.
More than 40% of registered voters have already voted here in Tarrant County. That balloting tops 465,000. It's much higher than in past midterms. It's even higher than the early vote totals in 2012.
Some Florida voters had to wait 3 hours today. The man accused of setting off a pipe bomb in the New York subway system last year has been convicted on terror charges.
The guilty verdict was reached in a relatively short amount of time. The jury found that Akayed Ullah strapped a bomb to his body and partially detonated the device inside an underground walkway that links the bus terminal with the Times Square subway station in Midtown Manhattan last December. The explosion was recorded on security camera videos. Ullah was the only one seriously injured in the blast. He told authorities he did it for the Islamic State, according to a federal criminal complaint. The defense tried arguing that Ullah intended to kill only himself. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 175, S&P up 17. I'm Mike Moss.
Hey everyone, it's your nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes. I know I don't need to tell you what's at stake with this election, but I want to talk to you about my friend and running mate, Tony Evers. Now, I've gotten to know Tony over the last couple months as we've crisscrossed the state. I've seen his resolve and his dedication to solving the problems Wisconsin faces, especially when it comes to access to quality, affordable health care, protecting our environment, and making sure that every kid in Wisconsin has a great public school, regardless of their zip code. But Tony and I can't win this election alone. We need your help to talk to those that might still be on the fence. So whatever you can do will help. Knock on doors, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family. When we're fighting to take back the state from Scott Walker and the special interests, every little bit helps. You can make the difference in this election. So visit TonyEvers.com and sign up to help. It's time for a change. And that's why Tony for Wisconsin paid for this ad.
There's good news about the protective ozone layer. Jim Roop reports a new study suggests the hole in the ozone is healing nicely.
Ozone is a fragile layer of gas surrounding the planet that protects us, animals and plants, from the sun's powerful ultraviolet rays, which can cause, among other things, skin cancer and cataracts. In the 1980s, damage was discovered in the ozone caused by chlorofluorocarbons from refrigerators, aerosol cans, and more. Now, CFCs were banned globally in 1987. It seems to have worked. A report by the UN Environment Program says the ozone has been recovering at a rate of 1 to 3% a year since the year 2000, and it could be completely healed in 50 years. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
The number of jobs posted by U.S. employers declined slightly in September, but still exceeded the number of unemployed Americans and remains at a near two-decade high. The report from the Labor Department, the latest evidence companies are having a hard time finding enough people to fill the open jobs. I'm Mike Moss.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly. Because of Scott Walker's cuts to education, voters in 61 Wisconsin school districts are voting today on $1.4 billion in tax levy referenda to fund their local schools. There are a total of 82 referendum questions on state ballots today, including 11 to build schools, 24 for safety and security improvements, and 40 for building improvements. Already this year, Wisconsin voters have approved referendums in 48 school districts, totaling more than $648 million. As expected, Christian Yelich has been named as a finalist for the National League's Most Valuable Player, and Craig Counsell is on the list for National League Manager of the Year. Tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and windy, highs in the low 40s. And Thursday, mostly sunny, highs around 40. For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Election Day edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Yes, I said hour 2. If you didn't note, winter rules. We've moved forward to 2 o'clock contracting broadcast day. I don't want to talk about it, not on Election Day. But if you find me nearly 4 sheets to the wind tonight at the Roman coin, I've got plenty of opinions on the topic. Thanks once again to Joe Zepecki and, of course, Terry Regano, the fine owner, proprietor of the Roman coin. And we'll be there about 8:01. We hope you join us there. First one's free, the good stuff, right? What is the beer?
So we're doing lakefront. She's, of course, big lakefront fan, being across the river, and we're doing tickets. So essentially, it doesn't have to be East Side Dark. Any lakefront you want, you get.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're mixing it up a little bit differently this time than we did last time.
I'm so excited. There'll be a party.
It's going to be a party. We love parties.
And the first one's free unless you're a Republican.
And then it's not.
And then you can pay us extra.
844-967-2789. Crudy, you mentioned FoxCONn article in the Journal Sentinel. Is that correct? Now, we saw a Wall Street Journal article headline today.
A very troubling headline for Wisconsinites and perhaps even Governor Scott Walker. What was that troubling headline, Don?
FoxCONn considers bringing Chinese workers to Wisconsin as U.S. labor market tightens. The Taiwanese supplier to Apple must meet hiring, wage, and investment targets by various states to receive tax and other performance-based benefits, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Does that mean taxpayers from the great state of Wisconsin have to pay the $200,000 to, let's call it $1 million per employee so FoxCONn can hire Chinese workers?
So we would subsidize the Chinese workers as well as...
I'm not clear.
I mean, what?
Maybe that migrant caravan, Dom, maybe they're coming up for the FoxCONn job fair. Maybe they want some good manufacturing jobs that apparently cannot be placed with Wisconsin or U.S. citizens. Got to bring in Chinese people to staff. I mean, Dom, this is worse and worse by the headline and the day. Although I do have contradictory reporting. FoxCONn out denying in a big way this afternoon. Report says FoxCONn thinking about using Chinese workers in Wisconsin. Company denies. Rick Rommel, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, online within the hour. The Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday that FoxCONn Technology Group, and here's a quote, is considering bringing in personnel from China to help staff its Wisconsin manufacturing operations. Report FoxCONn quickly denied. What does the Fox say? No. Apparently it says no. Don't look over there. Not on election day, certainly.
Wall Street Journal, fake news?
Citing people familiar with the matter, the newspaper said FoxCONn chairman Terry Go is looking to company engineers in China to transfer to Wisconsin. Go is upset that few have volunteered to move if called upon, the newspaper said. Was it an option? Anyways, here's another quote, Dom. We can categorically state that the assertion that we are recruiting Chinese personnel to staff our Wisconsin project is untrue, FoxCONn said in a statement.
No, they're doing it through a subsidiary. And that makes it true, right?
Through a temp hiring agency.
Right.
Our recruitment priority, notice the words, our recruitment priority remains Wisconsin first, and we continue to focus on hiring and training workers from throughout Wisconsin. We will supplement that recruitment from other U.S. locations as required. Maybe Ellis Island or wherever, maybe San Francisco, Dom.
The Wall Street Journal report comes on Election Day that sees Wisconsin Governor Walker in a tight race with Evers, FoxCONn, and the unprecedented amount of public money it stands to receive have been issues in the contest. Walker vigorously pursued FoxCONn as Wisconsin competed with other states to land the Taiwanese-based electronics manufacturer and its stated plans to build a multi-billion-dollar liquid crystal display factory in the United States. With Walker leading the state's effort, FoxCONn chose Wisconsin for what it has said will be a $10 billion manufacturing complex supported by 13,000 Wisconsin jobs. Work on the factory site in Mount Pleasant is underway. Crudy, if FoxCONn meets those investment and hiring targets, the company stands to receive about $3 billion from Wisconsin taxpayers. Also supporting the firm's project is $764 million from local government.
So that's $3.77 million, but $3.77 billion and counting, but please continue.
Money expected to be repaid by property taxes on the manufacturing complex and an additional $140 million from utility ratepayers for the new electrical infrastructure needed by FoxCONn.
Now we're up to $3.91 billion.
And of course, we know it's more than that.
And what about the highway? What about the improvement? Didn't we spend a couple $100 million on improving the highway for FoxCONn as well?
Well, we got to get an automated lane in there, Crudy, so the robots can drive all the, supplies and pieces. While FoxCONn said Tuesday it is not recruiting Chinese personnel to Wisconsin, the state's contract with the company appears to allow it to earn tax credits if foreign workers should be employed here.
So Wisconsin taxpayers would pay to subsidize foreign workers at the FoxCONn plant. Kill it dead, Tony Evers. Shoot this Goliath, this boondoggle, just kill FoxCONn already. Hurry up, elect Tony Evers, and Tony, you kill it. That's your job. That legalizing marijuana, sir.
If the foreign workers, such people, worked in Wisconsin for the benefit of FoxCONN's operation in Mount Pleasant, they apparently would qualify for the firm to earn tax credits equaling 17% of the employee's pay.
Which is about 2.5 times the normalized incentive for any other company the Wisconsin Economic Development Corp or the predecessor Commerce Department ever offered. 2.5 times the incentive for foreign employees. We, the taxpayers, are on the hook for foreign employees at 2.5 times normal scale. What a great deal Scott Walker scribbled on the back of a cocktail napkin the year he sought re-election for the third time.
Sean Moran, program supervisor with the nonpartisan Legislative Fiscal Bureau, said this: "We did not see anything in the contract or in state law that would prohibit credits from being earned by individuals from another country relocating and working in Wisconsin for the benefit of the Mount Pleasant operations."
I thought it was a bad enough deal when they were going to fill the job with Flatlanders. I mean, I don't care much for Illinois, as you know, Dom. Never been a Bears fan. But to take them from foreign countries, I mean, literally, it's not like the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin were ever going to get paid back equitably ever. They didn't even factor in inflationary cost in the math that the state's on the hook for a generation. But now we find out foreign workers eligible for Wisconsin taxpayer incentives, and the corporation, no matter how profitable under the current policies of Scott Walker, subject to a cap of 0.4%, effectively zero taxes. Who in the state of Wisconsin gets to work for zero taxes other than manufacturers? And I don't mean the line workers, because the only upside to the state of Wisconsin ever is the taxes paid on wage. And I would remind people, state of Wisconsin, no one has corrected my math, and I don't like doing math on the radio, but this is the math that doesn't add up to me. The maximum Wisconsin annualized taxes, what, 7.625%?
Yes, something like that.
If we're paying a 17% incentive to hire those workers, and the only way to recapture any gain for the state of Wisconsin is on state wage taxes at a cap of 625%, how do we ever catch up if we're giving 17 and getting 7.6 back?
If you're losing 10%, you can't make it up on volume? Is that what you mean?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, literally, if I'm wrong, I would love for the LFB or Dale Coinga, some CPA caucus member, to correct my math. But as far as I'm concerned, there's a reason we always cap prior incentives to corporations at like 7.5%, because that's the max return you can get at taxation.
From the employees.
Yes. And if the industry doesn't pay any taxes, thank you, WMC. Scott Walker gave them back, what, $350 million a year, primarily for millionaires and billionaires. They don't pay any taxes in the first place. So no matter how successful this corporation is, they don't pay taxes. And we, the state taxpayers, aren't going to be able to collect sufficient tax dollars against the worker wages, not the employer wages, but the worker wages, to ever pay back our 17% incentive. So unless there's lots and lots of ancillary companies, the ones like Corning, that don't get any sort of incentives, because Scott Walker already pissed them all away.
Continuing on, Crudy from the Journal Sentinel piece, because Wisconsin waives almost all taxes on manufacturing profits, the tax credits FoxCONn receives will likely be cash payments to the company.
Cash payments for foreign workers.
The employment subsidies to FoxCONn amount to more than $200,000 per job. far more than Wisconsin has provided other companies. Meanwhile, U.S. Labor Department records show that FoxCONn has applied for work visas for a small number of people to work in Wisconsin. According to the records, the company filed applications in the last federal fiscal year for 11 so-called H-1B visas for positions at the research and production plant FoxCONn has leased in Mount Pleasant. The H-1B program lets companies and organizations temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty occupations, generally those requiring at least a bachelor's degree. FoxCONn applied for visas to fill the positions at as cost analysts, industrial engineers, manufacturing engineers, and engineering managers. The Labor Department records don't show whether the visas were granted.
Dominic, you found a fine piece at the New Yorker. Did Scott Walker and Donald Trump deal away the Wisconsin governor's race to FoxCONn? Dan Kaufman, the author thereof, joining us in the 4 o'clock hour. Chris Walton, chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, coming soon. Your call's next, 844-967-2789.
FoxCONn will help Wisconsin win the 21st century.
What does the fox say?
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
Thank you, Mr. FoxCOnn.
Hi, this is Demi, pharmacist at Hyatt, locally owned pharmacy in the community of Milwaukee. Simplifying lives, one prescription at a time is our goal. Do free delivery of your medications to your home and at work. All your meds are brought together in one convenient dosage package individualized to your medication needs. We set up a house call with a licensed pharmacist to assist with medication management. We accept all insurance plans. To learn more about Hyatt, visit our website, HAYATRX.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Ass, grass, or cash, nobody rides for free. Dom and Crute are the devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at Devil Radio, and the phone lines 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I would remind all our listeners, first and foremost, we're wearing the legalized Wisconsin colors. Both you and I independently chose to wear pro-marijuana t-shirts on Election Day because it's on the ballot. 16 counties, 2 municipalities. I would encourage you to vote yes on cannabis. Legalize it. Here's why. 17,000 jobs historically would be created using Colorado figures against the nearly equivalent population here in the state of Wisconsin. Also, using Colorado projections. Even under Scott Walker's very conservative math, the LFB said $135 million per year in new revenue would be generated. That's new money. Money that was never here before. Well, it's here, but it's on the black market.
And that's new revenue. That's tax dollars to the state. That's not even gross revenue of the industry.
No, right. That's just tax dollars. And more accurately, it's probably going to be closer to $200 million per year. So you multiply that across a decade. and don't even factor in inflation because I want my weed to be relatively cheap a decade from now. I'll still be doing the long-term longitudinal study, Dom.
Yes, sir.
But that'd be $2 billion a decade in new revenue, 17,000 new jobs the industry would create. And compare that with FoxCONn. We're on the hook for $4.5 billion for what? Maybe 3 to 10, 13,000 jobs, maybe?
Maybe.
And we, the taxpayers, are on the hook, giving cash to a foreign corporation that will pay no taxes, even if highly profitable here in the state of Wisconsin? Dan Kaufman writes at The New Yorker, in September of 2017, Governor Scott Walker, Republican of Wisconsin, signed a contract that would make his state the home of the first U.S. factory of FoxCONn, the world's largest contract electronics manufacturer. The company, which is based in Taiwan and makes products for Apple, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, among others, would build a 21.5 million square foot, that's huge, manufacturing campus, invest up to $10 billion in Wisconsin, and hire as many as 13,000 workers at an average wage of $54,000 a year. For Walker, whose approval had fallen to the mid-30s after his failing, aborted presidential run. I threw a couple of expletives in there. The deal was seen as a crucial boost to his reelection prospects. Here's a quote, our pal Charles Franklin. The FoxCONn initiative looked like something that could be a hallmark of Walker's reelection campaign. He could claim a major new manufacturer presence, one that would also employ blue-collar workers in a region where blue-collar jobs are more scarce than they used to be. And flying over Kenosha, Priebus's hometown, they passed an empty lot that once held the American Motors Corporation plant. Why is all that land vacant, Trump asked, according to an account Priebus gave to a Milwaukee television station. That land should be used. When Terry Gao, FoxCONN's chairman, came to the White House to discuss FoxCONN's desire to build a U.S. factory, Trump suggested the site in Kenosha. It wasn't big enough, but the town of Mount Pleasant, 15 miles north, pursued the company aggressively and was ultimately selected by FoxCONN in October of 2017. Probably had nothing to do with their proximity to Lake Michigan and the needed water, Dom.
No.
But as the public has become aware of the spiraling costs for these jobs, the FoxCONN deal has become something of a political liability for Walker, particularly among workers outside of southeastern Wisconsin. Those costs include taxpayer subsidies to the company totaling more than $4.5 billion, the largest subsidy for a foreign corporation in American history. Since Wisconsin already exempts manufacturing companies from paying taxes, FoxCONN, which generated $158 billion in revenue last year, will receive much of that subsidy in direct cash payments from taxpayers. Depending on how many jobs are actually created, taxpayers will be paying between $200,000 and more than $1 million per job. I think we could do some direct hiring, just saying. According to the Legislative Fiscal Bureau, a nonpartisan agency that provides economic analysis in Wisconsin.
And that LFB says the earliest citizens might get a return on their FoxCONN investment is in 2042. 2042!
Sweet deal. Breaking even in 2042. Not return on investment. It gets
better. But wait, there's more. I pulled page 26 from the LFB report, Crudy. And here's a couple of paragraphs I want to share with everybody. Any cash flow analysis that covers a period of nearly 30 years must be considered highly speculative, especially for a manufacturing facility and equipment that may have a limited useful life. Technological advances and changes in FoxCONN market share, operating procedures, or product mix could significantly affect employment and wages at the proposed facility over time. Also, state law changes could affect the estimated amount of tax collections received from the additional economic activity, and any future state assistance that may be provided to FoxCONN would affect the analysis. But wait, Crudy, there's even more!
Ginzu knives?
In addition, investment analyses typically use a discounted cash flow methodology to account for the cost of capital. The Department of Administration analysis, that's Walker's DOA, expresses all amounts in current dollars and does not utilize a discount rate for future cash flows. Depending on what the discount rate is used, accounting for the cost of capital could push the break-even point for the project further into the future. They don't account for it. Not only do they account for the cost of the money, they don't account for the opportunity that you could have earned otherwise.
No wonder why we're like dead last for entrepreneurship.
It's terrible.
Scott Walker putting all his eggs in the FoxCONn basket, and people wonder, they say we have Walker derangement syndrome. No, we can do math. We're business people. A, I want that sweet deal that manufacturers get in the state of Wisconsin. I want to be effectively exempted from taxes. And B, for every hire I make around here, I want $200,000 to $1 million. And I'll give you like $15 an hour, right? I mean, what a sweet deal for the employer. Not so good for the taxpayers, but for the employer, that's a great deal. Come back with us. Chris Walton soon. Your call's next. 844-967-2789.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Having a great time.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Here at Resistance Radio, we believe not only in exercising our right to vote, but also celebrating our right to vote. So go cast your vote on Tuesday, November 6th before the polls close at 8 p.m. Then join us for a political party at the Roman Coin on Brady Street in Milwaukee.
I drank beer with my friends.
If you think politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Join the crew at Resistance Radio for a barrel of beer and a barrel of fun at the Roman Coin starting at 8 p.m. Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
Well, back in my day, we didn't build walls, we tore them down. That's why I listen to Real Resistance Radio. What's a firewall?
This is your Congresswoman, Gwen Moore, urging you to elect Josh Call for Wisconsin Attorney General. I met Josh Call 30 years ago as he was growing up right here in Wisconsin. He became an experienced federal prosecutor. And now we need Josh as Wisconsin Attorney General to focus on preserving Wisconsin family safety, securing our voting rights, protecting family-supporting jobs, and ensuring decent, affordable health care for all Wisconsinites. Josh Call will end Wisconsin's lawsuit against Obamacare, now being pushed by the Republican Attorney General. And Josh will make sure that insurance companies not discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions. Please get out and vote for Josh Call, Democrat, for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Paid for by Moore for Congress as an in-kind contribution to Call for Attorney General.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly. In an effort to stimulate discussion about uncomfortable topics, the chancellor at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse invited a sex educator who just happens to be a former porn star to speak at the campus. Chancellor Joe Gao told the Journal Sentinel, quote, "Sexuality is a basic human experience and we are really skittish about talking about it. There are many problems around sexuality and the only way to address them is to talk about them," end quote. The speaker, Nina Hartley, who is also an author and self-proclaimed sex-positive feminist, gave a lecture entitled Fantasy versus Reality, a critical view of adult media. If you or anyone you know has a problem voting today, Call Election Protection as soon as possible at 866-OUR-VOTE. That's a toll-free number, 866-OUR-VOTE. Tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy, lows in the mid-30s. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. So relevant, they have one foot in tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, an Election Day special. A fine guest coming up soon, Chris Walton. He is the chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. I understand he's running just a little bit late. Some of our phone callers, they don't understand when we say your calls are next. That means your calls are next. They hung up on us.
Come on, we had someone from Waukesha want to talk some weed. We want to talk some weed with Waukesha. Give us a call, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, it is Election Day. I know this because, A, I've seen lots of people with their I voted stickers. And here's one I just saw on my social media stream. I moved on that ballot like a bitch. You think that's a Trump supporter or perhaps an anti-Trump person?
Probably anti-Trump, but you never know these days. Some of the Trump supporters, they'll go along with anything. Hell, if it's their guy. I got into it.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
You have the rest of it? You can do anything. I made the mistake of responding to, one of my family members, friends on Facebook.
Are you sure that wasn't a Russian troll?
No, I'm not.
I moved on her like a bitch.
And they're like, oh, I'm just so tired of hearing. It was a female saying, I'm just so tired of hearing, people talk like that. It was like, what do you mean you're tired of hearing it? What about the fact that the guy you voted for did it? And there's people, because I swear sometimes, Curdy. Yeah, it's one of the things that I do. One of my more redeeming qualities. And in my response to whatever twisted post was out on the socials, I was, chastised for my language. Are you freaking kidding me? What are you talking about?
You will not chastise me for my effing language.
Right. 844-967-2789.
It's not your mom calling to chastise you, I hope.
Right. They're starting to line up. Thanks for calling back. Aaron from Waukesha. Welcome to the Devil's Advocates. Happy Election Day. What do you got for us today, Aaron?
Yeah, how are you?
Awesome. How you doing?
Good. I've actually been on your show before with Mr. Hughes and wanted to call in about Election Day and the referendum question that we have in Waukesha as well as Milwaukee County.
How is it written in Waukesha, Aaron? How is the legalized marijuana question asked in Waukesha?
It's asked in Waukesha not in a recreational way. It's medicinal only, and that it would be regulated similar to that of Brown County. That's what I modeled it after when I wrote it.
So, Aaron, you get some credit for this. People have obviously probably approached you, I suspect. Mostly good, mostly bad. What's your feeling on the street in Waukesha? Are people supportive of legalized medicinal cannabis, at least in Waukesha County?
Yeah, I believe it's going to have a majority vote tonight, and I really hope we get to at least 60. It was brought to me by some constituents who they're conservative. I represent a lot of conservatives, but they were educated and understood the medical benefits of it, and it's not smoking weed, it's not getting high, it's the topical part that cures diseases, really.
Well, Aaron, you act like the other part's a bad thing.
Right.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to health care, it really shouldn't matter if there's an R or a D in front of your name.
Sure.
We don't want to see people die from opioid epidemic anymore. And we, in the case of the constituents that I represent, they had a daughter-in-law be cured of stage 4 breast cancer because of it. So, and I have no idea if she's a Democrat or Republican. So I encourage people, obviously, to vote. But whatever county you're in, the 16 counties, and then Waukesha and Racine have a city referendum, I encourage people to vote yes. That's what I wanted to call in and share.
Aaron, I'm cheering for the blue team tonight. Under best of circumstances, I would look for divided governance, perhaps a blue governor, Tony at the governor, maybe even the Senate, but seems quite unlikely that we would turn the assembly just too gerrymandered. So here's my question, sir. With divided governance and overwhelming support on these referendums, and I have no doubt, Aaron, I'm not one bit anxious about support for legalizing marijuana. I think it's going to be higher than 60 in every single referendum. But here's my question.
I hope you're right.
Will we see any change in the law, or will the Robin Vosses of the world continue to obstruct and prohibit the legal use of cannabis for medical or recreational purposes?
Well, you bring up a great point, and I can answer your question. I think there will be, yes, I've talked to Republican legislators who I know in the state assembly, actually, but it does come down to, you're right, the Robert Vosses and the Scott Fitzgeralds of the world, and then, of course, the governor who has to sign it. But this is the process that 31 other states have already gone through. They didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, let's legalize marijuana. They went through, non-binding referendums.
Well, some went through binding referendums, though, Aaron, and obviously you and I can't control that outcome. But, when it is the will of the voter, if it was only about the will of the voter, I think marijuana would be legal in the state of Wisconsin right now, because Dems and Republicans were all down for this. It's only a certain select group, let's call them the governor and the Speaker of the Assembly and perhaps the Senate Majority Leader.
Don't forget the Attorney General.
It is only these law and order governance sort of people that use this as a platform for re-election or perhaps higher ambitions. They're the ones preventing this, Aaron. It's not the electorate at large. I think it's very specific people
right.
like Scott Walker.
No, I actually do agree with you. And I've been told the governor's not happy with me for having gotten this through the city council and gotten it on the ballot.
Yeah, how dare you try to represent your constituencies, Aaron? I want to keep moving on the calls, but I want to get one more in here for you, Aaron. Now, I understand you have some conservative constituency, and you got to take what you can get, but I wasn't clear. Are you for recreational, or are you for only medicinal?
Well, at this point, just for medicinal. I want to separate the arguments. That's where I think where you get a more effective education to the people that are voting. I mean, if you want to put them together, that's fine. I chose to separate them. We don't have recreational on the ballot at this point. But I know a lot of states do, and a lot of states are benefiting from it. And at this point, I think, at least for the city of Waukesha and several other counties, we have actually a historic amount of people being represented, almost 3 million people in the state being represented on those referendums this year. So, if the legislators can't take that seriously, I'm not sure what they're going to.
Well, and Aaron, if Tony Evers wins election tonight, I think many of them will be sparking up.
Right.
Well, hey, to each their own. That's fine.
Aaron, come join us at the Roman Coin.
Thanks, Aaron.
I hear there's some discreet outside places.
And I understand. That's why I asked the question about medicinal versus recreational, because there are differences. And if anyone's going to say, your Republican friends, Aaron, and if Governor Walker gives you any grief, or any of your conservative friends give you any grief about recreational, I just don't ask them, are they for the prohibition of alcohol? Because alcohol is scientifically, no doubt about it, way worse sociologically, physically than marijuana.
I prefer the financial argument at this point. I mean, we know it's about law and order. It's about incarcerating black people on some level. That's why the laws are what they are. But how do you explain turning your back on 16 or 17,000 well-paying Wisconsin jobs, and instead of we, the taxpayer, incentivizing those jobs at $220,000 to $1 million per job? Those jobs pay us about $200 million a year, plus the taxation on the wage of the individual 16 or 17,000 workers.
But you're assuming that they understand the argument that marijuana is better for you than alcohol. And I'm not clear that people think that. They've all been convinced of the reefer madness. And of course, the other side of this, in the paper today from WISCnews.com, Minnesota man found with 10 pounds of pot in his disabled minivan in Lake Delton. This guy's looking at 12 years in jail for 10 pounds of weed that in another state you probably wouldn't even be looked at.
I don't know. 10 pounds seems like
So
quite a
what?
bit.
I mean, come on.
I mean, we might go through that much tonight, no doubt. But
If I got 10 barrels of beer in the back of my car, if I got 20 barrels of beer, does it matter? Does anybody care how many cases of beer I buy? This is absolutely ridiculous. I could take one of those barrels and drink till I die tonight. I cannot smoke myself to death. You cannot separate these issues, in my humble opinion. Though, Aaron, I appreciate you working. We'll take what we can get. Let's get a couple more callers in here while we can. Tony from Portland, you're up. Thanks for calling, Tony. What do you got today?
Are you okay, man?
I get a little fired up, man.
Calm down. Yeah, you are. Right on, brother. Well, we've had marijuana legal out here in Portland for a long time.
yeah, rub it in, Tony. Rub it in.
Yeah. I just saw it signed the other day. It said $3 grams. So that is what you have to look forward to. And I'm, $3 gram out here is, probably a $40 eighth there. But it's fantastic. And we have yet to have somebody rob a store because they were stoned out of their mind. We have yet to have a high-speed chase.
Right, got to get my fix.
And he was just
Yeah, but how many guys have rocked on that vending machine and tried to get their Doritos out, man?
Yeah, as far as I know, the cops don't get called to domestic abuses or we got there and the guy was stoned out of his mind and beating the shit out of his wife. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that.
Dump it. Thanks for the call, Tony. We appreciate it. 844-967-2789. It's funny you brought up vending machines, Crudy, because actually vending machines kill more people annually than marijuana does.
Tipping over vending machines?
7 people die on average per year from vending machine accidents. Nobody dies from marijuana. Let's get one more in. Annie from Watertown, you're up. Thanks for calling, Annie. What do you got?
Hey, Annie.
Yeah, but then you got those old ladies like I am who used to come to me in high school in the 70s and say, oh, yeah, I got so drunk last night and I tried some pot and it made me sick.
Well, that'll happen. That's why you smoke
Skip
first.
the weed. Skip the beer and just go straight for the weed, Annie.
Oh, it was the weed that was so terrible, right? Yeah, okay. But no, I was on the phone before and had to go sit down. I mean, I just still am suffering from the trauma of a couple years ago of hearing White Christmas,
White Christmas?
That was what they played when I turned into Stephanie Miller at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, Annie, sorry. That wasn't our call. If we could have done anything about it, it would have been different.
Annie, if you play...
I guess I'm still recovering from that and still hesitant to say, oh, yeah, blue wave. Oh, come on, we thought people were going to go out and vote last time.
Annie, I don't know about a blue wave, but I'm looking for a green Christmas, if you know what I'm saying.
Thanks, Annie.
We are the Devil's Advocates. Got a fine guest joining us in studio very soon, Chris Walton. He is the chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. We are the Devil's Advocates. You're smoking this, partying this, greatest radio show everest product. Real Resistance Radio. Come back with us, and don't forget.
We got the best words.
Biggest, greatest, tremendous is party ever at the Rubicon. 8:01 tonight. Polls close at 8. The party starts at 8:01. We'll be right back.
I will do anything it takes to win.
Hey.
Even if it means lying. Or physically hurting someone.
Easy. Put that down.
Or branding myself with a coat hanger.
All right.
In the shape of a V for victory.
If we turn out to vote, we can throw Republican Governor Scott Walker out of office this election, November 6th. What does Walker do to try to win? Lie and incite fear and hatred of immigrants with racist ads and messages. We're not going to let him. He's against driver's licenses for immigrants, in-state tuition for dreamers. He wants to eliminate health care coverage, including for pre-existing conditions. Republican Scott Walker is the same as Donald Trump. We have an alternative. Democrats Tony Evers and Mandela Barnes. They support driver's licenses, in-state tuition for dreamers, increased health coverage, and more funds for public schools. This election is tied. Every vote counts. Let's vote for our families and for our dignity. Vote for Democrats Tony Evers and Mandela Barnes for governor and lieutenant governor. paid for by People for the American Way and Voces de la Frontera Action, independent of any candidate or candidate committee.
The Western Scrub Jay. I was taking my science class on a virtual reality bird-watching expedition. All of a sudden, Charlie Kane shouts, "Arr! Arr!" He had spotted the elusive black swift, a bird rarely seen in the wild. For a brief moment, Charlie had not the eyes of a 9-year-old boy. He had the eyes of an eagle.
Teachers just have better work stories. Find out how creative teaching can be at teachdfw.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on Real Resistance Radio. Call in live at 844-967-2789 and give your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on local and national topics. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon. It will not be what you expect to hear, but we will definitely give you what you need to know. That's The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes on Real Resistance Radio. Always streaming live on realresistanceradio.com.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio. If you miss any of this fine program, you can go to the website, download, listen to podcasts and interviews at realresistanceradio.com.
I'm kind of a bigger deal than you are because I've got bigger, better words.
Yeah, I heard a bunch of them at the last segment.
And Don, we got a fine guest right now live in studio. He is Chris Walton, chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. We welcome him back. Chris, Election Day, man. I can see the excitement in your eyes.
Right. Hello, everybody. Oh, my God. It's a good day. It's a really good day. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes tonight.
You're feeling pretty positive, man. I can get this vibe off you, man. You're smiling, you're feeling energetic. I know you're a lot younger than us, man, but what gives you such joy right now?
So I know that myself personally, I went and voted early, and the lines then were still packed. And so I went today to my polling place.
Early today.
I went and voted early. I did early vote. But I went to my polling precinct today, and it was maybe around 9 o'clock. Well, it was a little bit before noon. And already 500 people had voted just in my polling precinct. Wow. I went to another one that was Ward 60 right nearby. They were over 200 going into noon, which is that's not a normal thing. That's presidential level. That's not midterm level.
Yeah, we had almost 300 at my polling place, St. Bernard's in Middleton, before 8:30 in the morning.
That is huge. I heard there was 1,000 before 10 in Shorewood, and Glendale's already, as of like 2:15, they're at 61% turnout.
You know what that can be attributed to? I'm sure a fine Democratic ticket, but also legalize marijuana on the ballot.
Right. I definitely have
cannabis turning them out today.
I definitely one of my cousins. I actually got her to go and vote today. She's been really keeping up with it. She is a fan of the ballot initiative, and so she was really looking forward to going to vote because of this. And I picked her up this morning. She called me and woke me up to go and vote. So that's saying something.
That's awesome.
And she's like, "We gotta go vote." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And took her. She voted, and she was like number 150 over in Sherman Elementary, over on Locust near St. Joseph's. So it's good time. It's a good turnout all over the city.
My daughter, who's now 24 and lives in a legal marijuana state of California, many years ago, her first perhaps spring election, legalized marijuana was on an advisory referendum in Dane County, and she tweeted out, and she was a pretty young girl in high school and had lots of male followers, let's just say, tweeted out, and like 22 dudes tweeted back immediately, "Yes, I voted legalized marijuana." I'm thinking, I wonder if these guys know it's not really going to change the law, but they made a special effort to go out and vote. Young people, 22, 23-year-olds, to express an opinion on the topic specifically of legalized marijuana. Well, I don't think it's just about legal weed. Chris, I would say there might be some Trump something in some people's mind this elective day.
A little bit. He's not exactly the most popular person on this side of the county line.
What do you think's driving turnout more, cannabis legalization or anti-Trumpism?
You know, happy people don't vote. And I think what we're seeing right now is there are a lot of unhappy people in America right now because turnout all across the country is high. I think that, especially with the marijuana referendum here in Milwaukee and in Dane and a couple other states, Michigan, for example, is actually getting ready to legalize it completely. Turnout through the roof. So it's
Dom and I are going to the UP next.
Got to go do some fishing or hunting or something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there, hey.
It's good turnout. It's a horrible president we want to send a message to. It's great candidates like Mandela and Tony and Sarah and Josh and Tammy. All of the above.
Chris Walton, Milwaukee County gets blamed a lot in African Americans staying home, and Donald Trump became the president. Obviously, Hillary Clinton did not win the state of Wisconsin. And I heard many people point it out. You know, he didn't get any more votes than Romney did. It wasn't that Donald Trump overperformed in the state of Wisconsin so much as Hillary kind of underperformed. Yeah. Well, Chris, you're the new chair, at least since the last elective cycle. You're the new chair of the Milwaukee County Dems. Chris, it's your fault if they don't turn out. Are you going to be okay tonight when the final polls close?
So what I've been telling everybody, and I'm telling everybody right now that we're not going to bed early, but we're going to bed happy. And I think that's the best thing I can say for right now about that. The results from 2016, you can't even compare them this time because so many more people are actually, it looks like more people are going to come out in this election than there were 2 years ago. And that was a presidential.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And we got to figure out a way to, that's a fight for what's coming up starting tomorrow with the presidential primaries. But we definitely have to figure out a way where everybody shows up. And it's not just Milwaukee's job to carry the state of Wisconsin.
Right.
That's 22,000 votes.
Dane County, Madison, we'll do our part.
And you know what? And I appreciate that. We love Dane County because they always put out votes. But we got to get them out of La Crosse. We got to get them out of Ashland, Appleton, Brown County. Milwaukee can't carry the whole state. If we could, we'd be in a much better position.
Chris Walton, chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, joins us in studio for a few more minutes. Chris, looks like the National Party took Wisconsin a lot more serious this time. And Eric Holder was in here on the Forum with Sherwin Hughes this morning. A lot of the surrogates have come through. We've covered lots of them right here.
Tom Perez in Milwaukee yesterday called into our show
on Real Resistance Radio. So they've really made Wisconsin a focus. Will that do it? Do you think that's enough?
I think so. There's one or two things I'm thinking about with that. It's showing that they know they messed up in 2016, and they're not going to do that again. And the second thing I'm thinking about is they're so sure they're not going to do that again. I know they're going to have the Democratic National Convention here in 20. That's my hope.
That
just
would be
to
so awesome.
further assuage the damage done. Like, okay, we'll give you the big party this year. So that they know Wisconsin's important. They realized it after 2016, and now they're showing how important we are.
It's not just hurricanes, though, Chris. If we don't turn this state blue, they ain't coming for the big party.
This is true.
I mean, there's a lot of economic impact. $200 million coming to Milwaukee. If we can land the DNC, I would say turn this state blue. That'd be a good way to catch Tom Perez's attention.
Exactly.
The man was partying in Milwaukee yesterday.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about it is Perez's family is all here. His wife's side of the family, his daughter goes to college in Wisconsin.
Oh,
I think that'd be an excellent
we've
idea.
been lobbying Tom since we heard it was a possibility. Chris, I guess my final question. What has the county party done to turn out the voters in Milwaukee?
One thing that I know we've done, especially, and me personally, I've had my hands on this. I've been so much more involved in the community, going to different events, doing different outreach events. A lot of the people working in the executive committee have been going to different events. We went to the Puerto Rican Family Festival. We've always attended the Juneteenth Festival. We went to the Center Street Festival. Basically, the most dangerous place in the world between me was a festival, because I'm going to these festivals and actually doing stuff that the other county parties don't necessarily do. And also a rap that we've gotten is we never see the county party. They show up at election time like, no, we're going to be here all in your face, and then you're going to be sick of me. But then we're going to come back in October and still continue to push you. Also doing social media, reaching out to younger people, because a lot of younger people were not involved in the county party.
Yeah.
The average age of the county party before I got involved was like 85. I dropped it down to 75 when I got it. So getting more people involved.
So if only you guys could get Tony Evers to join the Milwaukee County Party, you'd bring her down to like 69.
Hey, well, that's why we have Mandela and Tony, so that balances to 48. So we're coming down, but we're
heading in the right direction. Chris Walton, still time for people to vote. Polls close at 8 o'clock tonight. And then where's the party?
Well,
other than a Roman coin.
Well, other than a Roman coin, and also you can't go to the Roman coin or you can't come to our party if you have not voted. Polls, we will be at the Crown Plaza in Wauwatosa, and the party starts at 8:01. But if you are still in line, stay in line. You can still vote. But as soon as you're done voting, come to the Roman Coin or come to the Crown Plaza and come hang out with us tonight.
Yeah, we'll keep one cold for you. Chris Walton,
Appreciate it.
the chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. A lot of pressure on you tonight, young man.
A little bit, but
you better turn her blue.
I feel good. We're not going early, but we're going happy.
Outstanding. Sounds good. I wasn't planning on going to bed early anyways. Chris Walton, thank you so much. We are the Devil's Advocates right here on Real Resistance Radio. Hopefully tonight, a time for celebration all across the great state of Wisconsin. Ding dong, the walker's dead, I would hope, as a political creature. Rhetorically speaking, of course.
Of course. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. More Devils on the other side. More of your calls as well. 844-967-2789.
I moved on her like a bitch.
What are we going to do to protect the American people and their democracy from this kind of thing in the future?
Get them out. Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. That's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Here at the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
A busy election day, security in place. I'm Mike Moss. Motivations may vary, but the indications are in this election day, Americans are turning out in strong numbers to vote. This Virginia voter says he is motivated by a civic responsibility.
I think it's definitely my civic duty to actually participate in democracy. Pretty much we need a change in how we approach people, how we talk about things, how we resolve issues, and not to attack everything we don't agree with, differences that we have.
Virginia polling locations have been busy, as we hear from correspondent Brian Todd.
The turnout is off the charts. According to the registrar, the deputy registrar of Loudoun County, they have broken records here. It is more than double the voter turnout from 2014's midterms.
Even with a record 33 million early voters, polling sites are busy today. Correspondent Rosa Flores says in Florida, turnout is up for younger voters.
There is this sense across the nation that most of Florida voters are seniors. That is not the case. 52% are millennials, Gen Zers, and Gen Xers.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen says her agency is ready for anything. But security seems good so far, and she knows foreign nations have targeted our democracy.
I would just offer to put it in a broader perspective of they have a full court press through many means to try to affect Americans and to try to affect our democracy. And we are seeing other indications of that through their foreign influence.
Today's vote will decide 36 governors' races as well as control of the House and the Senate. The State Department is advising Congress that Russia has not met a deadline to provide assurances that it would not use nerve agents against its own people after an attack on a former Russian spy in Britain. That decision could result in new U.S. sanctions imposed against Russia. On Wall Street, the Dow closed up 173, S&P was up 17. I'm Mike Moss.
We don't need to imagine the challenges our state faces. We live them every day. This is former State Representative Mandela Barnes. I'm running to be your next Lieutenant Governor. And whether it's more access to affordable health care, or clean water, or better jobs, or wanting the best schools for our kids, there's only one candidate for governor who will get results: Tony Evers. That's what Tony's done as a teacher and as State Superintendent of Public Schools. I've seen Tony's character, and his passion to do what's right for kids. I've seen Tony Evers listen to the concerns and problems of people around the state, and I've worked with him to find solutions to those problems. Isn't that what we need? 8 years is enough of Scott Walker and his failed politics of division. We need a governor who cares about all of us. We need a governor who's concerned about the next generation, not just the next election. It's time for a change. That's why Tony for Wisconsin paid for this ad.
The number of jobs posted by U.S. employers declined slightly in September, but still exceeded the number of unemployed Americans and remains near a 2-decade high. Correspondent Marlis Majerus reports with more.
The report from the Labor Department is the latest evidence that U.S. companies are straining to fill jobs in the face of a robust job market with low unemployment. The department says job openings declined 4% to roughly 7 million, close to the highest level on records dating back to December 2000. The number of openings far exceeded the roughly 6 million people who were unemployed in September. The number of available jobs, in fact, has topped the number of unemployed for 6 straight months. Steadily strong hiring has lowered the U.S. unemployment rate to a nearly 5-decade low of 3.7%. Marlis Majerus, Washington.
A leading travel research firm is predicting there will be 1.4 billion trips made in 2018. That's an increase of 5%. I'm Mike Moss.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy Five9s.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Here at Resistance Radio, we believe not only in exercising our right to vote, but also celebrating our right to vote. So go cast your vote on Tuesday, November 6th before the polls close at 8 p.m. Then join us for a political party at the Roman Coin on Brady Street in Milwaukee.
I drank beer with my friends.
If you think politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Join the crew at Resistance Radio for a barrel of beer and a barrel of fun at the Roman Coin starting at 8 p.m. Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly. In an interview earlier today on The Forum with Sherwin Hughes, former Attorney General Eric Holder had a strong message for non-voters.
John Lewis got his skull cracked on the Edmund Pettus Bridge so that we'd have the right to vote. 3 civil rights workers died in Mississippi so that we would have the right to vote. The Selma to Montgomery March was all about getting people the right to vote. You dishonor that legacy if you do not go out and vote. There's a debt that we owe to those people. Without those people, there'd be no Eric Holder, there'd be no Barack Obama. The debt that we owe to them can only be repaid by voting.
Tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy, lows in the mid-30s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and windy, highs in the low 40s. And Thursday, mostly sunny, highs around 40. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we are sliding into the 4 o'clock Election Day happy hour, and I'm happy to announce we've got a fine guest joining us very shortly. He is Dan Kaufman. He is a contributor to The New Yorker and author of The Fall of Wisconsin, The Conservative Conquest of a Progressive Bastion and the Future of American Politics. That was published in July. Dom, this newest piece, this New Yorker piece that published on November 3rd, Did Scott Walker and Donald Trump deal away the Wisconsin governor's race to FoxCONn? Well, Don, we welcome Dan Kaufman right now live via phone. Dan, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you, sir.
Dan, we had the opportunity to share part of your piece with our audience. Dan, let's talk about your conclusions. We talk a lot about FoxCONn here on this little lefty radio product. We always thought it was bad math. But Dan, the math keeps getting worse and worse for the state of Wisconsin. What was your impressions as a reporter? What do Wisconsinites think about this FoxCONn deal?
Well, I think outside of southeastern Wisconsin, it's very the perception is very negative. That's why they've launched these innovation centers that they have promised to build in Eau Claire, La Crosse, and Green Bay, where they'll supposedly hire 100 to 200 people. Also, the UW money, $100 million, they're promised to give. Although I've been told that they will keep half the patents that are as part of this research center. I think that these things are political moves to foster support for it outside of southeastern Wisconsin, where it is, somewhat popular, but not incredibly so. I think Charles Franklin has some polling that shows about 60% of the population there thinks that the state is getting its money's worth. Very different than the rest of the state, who views it extremely, quite negatively, I think. For, the cost is just so enormous. You have, Republican Governor John Kasich saying, what a terrible deal it was. And, it's not just liberals or Democrats that have criticized it. I mean, it was so far beyond what the other states were going to offer. I think the next closest was maybe Michigan, which was significantly less. I think it's perceived quite negatively, and growing more so, as you saw today. Like, I think there was a story in the Wall Street Journal about FoxCONn is considering bringing Chinese workers to Wisconsin. So it's like, what are we paying for? I'm talking as a Wisconsinite. I grew up there, so but yeah. Anyway, I think that is the perception, is growing more so. And then, of course, the battle of eminent domain, which is just one aspect, but it was something that was really interested me and what I focused on in my piece, which is, these people, homeowners, and that's an issue that has a lot of support from conservatives. Paul Ryan actually co-sponsored a bill in 2005 after the Supreme Court decision around eminent domain in New London, Connecticut. And, that bill passed the House with only like 30 dissenting votes. It's an issue that has a lot of salience, I think, for both sides.
Dan, Scott Walker, the governor of the state of Wisconsin, thought that this was a can't miss, that this was a grand slam home run. And Donald Trump made a special trip to Wisconsin in June. They, shoveled some dirt and they celebrated together. Is it at all, to your opinion, sir, the association with Donald Trump? Has Donald Trump put a taint on this project for the people of Wisconsin? I know Wisconsin turned red for Trump, but I would say he's not an overly popular governor here, sir, or pardon me, president. Dan, do you think Trump's influence on this deal has had a negative impression with voters?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, it's like the more people learn about it, like how it was done. I mean, there's other things besides just the money, like, the company will have special court privileges, and things. So yeah, I do think Trump's involvement is a taint. But it's indicative of his sort of model. I mean, if you look at the Carrier, for example, that's the factory in Indiana where he went even before he was inaugurated. He made a big show of trying to save some jobs there, but it turned out to be much less. And the head of the UAW there, Chuck Jones, called him out on that. And then, he attacked Jones by Twitter, and Jones was getting like threatening phone calls, So I think they're trying to sell a perception, that has a lot of salience and resonance in southeastern Wisconsin, which is this huge, incredible manufacturing history. And if you go to Racine, I know you guys I've probably been there many times, but like you can see this hollowing out that was largely, a lot of it was these free trade deals. As Corey Mason says in my piece, people talk about automation as a problem, and it is, but in this part of the country, those plants didn't close for automation. They closed to go to Mexico or China, and I think Trump tapped into that and during the campaign, and he railed against those deals. And he's very cognizant that selling jobs, and Walker is too. You remember his first promise in 2011, he's going to create, or 2010, 250,000 jobs.
Oh, yeah, we remember.
Which he still hasn't done after 8 years. That was supposed to be in one term. And so there's they know that talking about jobs and good paying jobs has a lot of political appeal. But, when you look at how they're doing it, it's a terrible deal. As two economists in my piece said, they wrote a piece that you could give that money to random entrepreneurs and create much more jobs. Especially, also look at how, hollowed out Wisconsin has been, with the roads and the schools and stuff. This is money that is coming from somewhere, taxpayer money. And what should that be spent on? Should it be spent on a Taiwanese company that's going to employ a lot of robots, or and some manufacturers? It's 20 miles from the Illinois border, not necessarily Wisconsin citizens. Or should it be spent on the schools or the roads or water quality and other issues that have really declined, in this period of kind of starving of the public budget? So,
folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. That's Dan Kaufman. He's a contributor at the New Yorker. That's the piece we're talking about right now. And also the author of The Fall of Wisconsin, The Conservative Conquest of a Progressive Bastion and the Future of American Politics. He joins us on the phone. Dan, I really enjoyed your piece. You get in and talk to some of the homeowners, and I think this is something that people overlook. But this is a strange... When you talk about this much money, started out at $3 billion and now up to $4.5 billion, that's a 50% increase by my math, Dan. But it's some strange bedfellows. You have Corey Mason, a Democrat mayor now in the area. He's all for it. And you have, of course, conservatives that are all for it. But this eminent domain issue that, conservatives and, frankly, a lot of libertarians take issue with, this whole New London case, to my understanding, when they allowed the use of taking people's land for economic development, not for just roads, that particular project in New London never actually went through. But besides that, did you get a sense of hypocrisy from the homeowners, knowing that, people claim that they're for homeowners' rights and property rights and against this eminent domain, but here we sit. If it's good enough for the politicians, they're going to jam it through our throats, down our throats, and of course then using the whole blighted area terminology and legalities to get it through. What was your sense in that particular part of it, Dan?
Yeah, no, I think there was an awareness of the hypocrisy, and Kim Mahoney, who is one of the homeowners, one of the last holdouts, is kind of, she wrote to Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, who is her congressman, and he referred her, said it wasn't a federal issue. Now, at the same time, the federal government is giving Wisconsin $160 million to improve the roads for FoxCONn, so it clearly is, and he co-sponsored this bill that I was mentioning about how, in response to Kelo, that you shouldn't be able to do this. And in fact, Wisconsin did pass a statute. Leah Vukmir was the co-sponsor, as was Robin Voss, the Speaker of the Assembly, saying that it could not be done. And they specifically defined what blighted properties were. And these were dilapidated properties that endangered the public health and safety and welfare and so on. Now, however, the Village of Mount Pleasant, which is kind of acting as FoxCONN's proxy, there's another statute on the books called the Slum Clearance and Blight Elimination Act. And their definition is that, whether diversity of ownership and open farmland and so on, and that it impedes the sound growth of the community, which is kind of ironic because these farms have been there for 90 years. For example, one of the biggest holdouts, the Krusingers farm. So suddenly it's because they rezoned it from agricultural land to business park. Now this farm that's been there for almost a century is impeding the sound growth of the community, which is, obviously not the intention of blight clearance and elimination, at least as far as I can read it. But there'll be, there's two competing definitions of what blight is on the books in Wisconsin law. And I think if Kim and the others decide to pursue it, a judge will determine, well, whether Wisconsin's law, co-sponsored by Vukmir and Voss, is meant to protect somebody's dream home or not. And I think it'd be hard to misread that one. On the other hand, the Village, there are, they have this other definition that it's impeding the sound growth, and obviously the tax base is going to, increase exponentially with Spock's on there. So.
Dan, one thing I took note of, and I mentioned it when I tweeted you out, and I certainly appreciate you coming on the show with us today, the fact that the people are using the LFB calculation as justification for an eventual payoff in like 2042. But as mentioned, the LFB doesn't use discounted cash flows, and they're assuming lots of things projecting out 30 years. And if you're going to take money and assume you're going to have, say, an inflation rate of 3%, and if you invested that money otherwise at a 4% rate, that's a spread of 7%. You discount that over 10 years, it's about half loss of value. Do you think that is there a possibility this ever gets paid back, or is this just a bottomless pit?
Well, you make a very good point, and there's some economists that say that kind of outlay can never be paid back. And I think that's a very good point, and it's so complicated, hard to get into in an article of 3,000 words. But there's other people that say, you can't even talk about it as a net. And I mentioned them in the piece. You can't talk about a net gain of jobs because you're taking this money, the billions, and that would be used to hire people like in schools or whatever, or to fix the roads. So you're not employing people with that money. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a net gain of jobs even, which I think was a really interesting point. That is being drained from the public coffers. And what's more useful to people? Like that's the thing that I think the bottom line is. It's like, what is this project? Eminent domain has value, I think, if it's a public project, a school or a road. But this is clearly, all of this is being done for a private corporation that's not American, and is really has changed so quickly. What they've described that they're going to do. Originally it was going to be this one kind of factory, now it's not, and so on and so forth. So constantly changing. But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what it's for. It's so Scott Walker, if you look at his history, can get some dark money given to third-party groups he can coordinate with, but hopefully that'll all be over today, Dan. It's election day.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I stick to pure journalism, but yeah, it's definitely his tightest race, and Tony Evers is, I don't know. It's going to be very, very tight. Might be late night, so.
Oh, it'll be a late night.
We count on it being a late night. Dan Kaufman, a fine journalist, a contributor to The New Yorker. Also find his book, The Fall of Wisconsin, The Conservative Conquest of a Progressive Bastion and the Future of American Politics. Thank you so much, Dan Kaufman, for joining the Devil's Advocates today.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay, take care.
Folks, we are the Devils. Phone lines open, 844-967-2789. Hurry up, the FCC makes us turn off the radio soon. Just live to stream at realresistanceradio.com. But you can call us right now.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Thank you, Mr. FoxCONn.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Thank you, Mr. FoxCOnn.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Thank you, Mr. FoxCOnn.
And they literally and figuratively get hooked, and once they get hooked, there's no going back.
Hi, my name is Shantae, your local Hyatt pharmacist. With more than 10 locations here in the Milwaukee area, we're here to simplify your lives one script at a time. With free delivery to your home or work, where all your medications are brought together in one convenient dosage packaged, individualized to your daily medication regimen. We set up in-house calls with the licensed pharmacist to assist in medication management. We accept all insurance plans. To learn more about Hyatt, visit us at our website, hayatrx.com.
This is Congresswoman Gwen Moore urging you to elect Josh Kaul for Wisconsin Attorney General. I met Josh Kaul 30 years ago as he was growing up. He became an experienced federal prosecutor, and now we need Josh as Wisconsin Attorney General to focus on preserving Wisconsin family safety, securing voting rights, ensuring decent, affordable health care, and protecting family-supporting jobs. Vote for Democrat Josh Kaul for Attorney General.
Paid for by Call for Attorney General.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class, Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. From 3 to 4, it's State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa hosting The Joe Costa Show, followed by The Dawn of the Resistance with Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Real Resistance Radio streaming up on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line 844-967-2789.
Dominic, the FCC makes us turn this fine AM daytimer off.
Boo.
At 4:30. Sunset, something like that. You know, we've been getting lots of listeners in Finland.
What?
This station, very powerful past sunset, and that's why they make us turn it off. 20,000 watts at night goes over 4,000 miles.
Well, we should leave it on then. To hell with the FCC.
I know. Never mind. I won't say that. Someone will call me and get me in trouble with the FCC. But anyways, we will discuss other plans after the election. We'll do what we can do tonight, which is in this program when we're supposed to go live to stream until 5 because we still got friends on the East and the West Coast. Charlottesville, Virginia, very important electoral spot. I hear it is something of a bellwether. We know we got friends listening out in Charlottesville right now in Northern California. I got some advice for them. I mean, I've got all the propositions in California broken down for our Eureka listeners. Thank you, L.A. Tom.
Way to go, Tom.
Tom actually did that for my daughter.
That's awesome.
I was feeling quite proud of her. She's got a notebook. She's got all of her California propositions and her electeds.
That's really Tom's notebook?
Yeah, Tom did her homework.
All right, man.
And then I saw she had a passport, and I'm thinking, why the passport? If it's that bad, are you going to flee the country? And then I thought to myself, where's my passport?
844-967-2789. Will, you're up. Thanks for calling, Will. Happy Election Day. What do you got for us?
Happy Election Day. I just wanted to tell everybody I'm feeling the love, and I hope everybody else is too. I know all my dear friends and loved ones are feeling the love. All my dear friends and loved ones in the National Guard are feeling the love of the Great Spirit who is here with us. Good babies.
I'm not sure if that's the Great Spirit's love or perhaps that's THC, Will.
Can it be both?
I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to have a hit yet. I'm doing that next. You said you were about off the air, and it's so powerful right now, and I'm feeling the power right now, which I do at a very high note and a high volume at times, but I won't right now.
Will, did you vote today? Good baby. Did you vote today?
I just came back, and I found out I've got all kinds of different people in me as far as bloodline. Man, I think we've got all kinds of bloodlines in us, and we should stop being racist and angry and negative towards everybody and start loving all.
Oh, man. Will, I love the way you think, man. Thanks for calling, buddy.
If we see legalized cannabis referendums all across the state, 16 counties, 2 municipalities. Over half the voters in the state of Wisconsin
have an opportunity to weigh in on legal weed in some form or another.
And Dom, we've been weighing in damn near every single day for like 7 years and counting.
For 25 years since we've been in college, man.
As long as Scott Walker's been trying to create 250,000 jobs, we've been trying to get people to discuss reasonable, non-prohibitive cannabis policies. And I think today is the day. I feel very confident about 2 things and 2 things only. Well, 3. One. Tammy Baldwin will still be our senator tomorrow morning. 2, legalize marijuana, be it medicinal or recreational, will be supported overwhelmingly in the state of Wisconsin on advisory referendums. And 3, if you come down to the Roman coin at 801 and you're an adult of legal drinking age, I will buy you a free beer tonight. Any of what type of beer?
Lakefront Brewery.
Oh, those sound yummy.
They are good.
Can't wait to get a cold one in me, but we got a little more show today. Live to stream. You know, we're on the radio outside the Milwaukee market, but, you know, FCC sons of... Thanks to all the fine guests we've had so far. Joe Zepecki, Terry Regano, owner of the Roman Coin, Chris Walton, chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, and of course, Dan Kaufman, fine journalist contributor to the New Yorker. We'll come back with the California and the Virginia phone calls, and you nice people waiting right now at 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. You know, political party. It's election day. Come back with the Devils.
I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Talk it out, man. It kind of grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
Good evening, everyone. Due to FCC regulations and that we are an AM daytime radio station, this now concludes our broadcast day. But you don't have to leave us. We do stream online 24/7 at realresistanceradio.com. That's realresistanceradio.com. Or check us out on the TuneIn app at WRRD. For those of you already streaming, we now continue regular programming, and please welcome your friends from the radio. Say hello, everyone. WRRD 1510 AM and WTTN 1580 AM, Real Resistance Radio. Good night, everyone. Well, back in my day, we didn't build walls, we tore them down. That's why I listen to Real Resistance Radio. What's a firewall?
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Here at Resistance Radio, we believe not only in exercising our right to vote, but also celebrating our right to vote. So go cast your vote on Tuesday, November 6th before the polls close at 8 p.m. Then join us for a political party at the Roman Coin on Brady Street in Milwaukee.
I drank beer with my friends.
If you think politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Join the crew at Resistance Radio for a barrel of beer and a barrel of fun at the Roman Coin starting at 8 p.m. Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Brian Kelly with your headlines. Today is Election Day. The polls are open until 8 p.m. To see a sample ballot or to find out where your polling place is, go to myvote.wi.gov. Voters in Wisconsin can register at the polls. Just bring your photo ID and proof of residency, such as a utility bill or bank statement with your address on it. If you or anyone you know has a problem voting today, call Election Protection as soon as possible at 866-OUR-VOTE. That's a toll-free number, 866-OUR-VOTE. When polls close tonight, come out and celebrate with the Devil's Advocates. You can join Dom and Crute at Regano's Roman Coin on Brady Street beginning at 8 p.m. tonight for a Resistance Watch Party. Peninsula State Park in Door County is getting a new observation tower that will be accessible to everyone thanks to a planned 850-foot ramp leading up to the tower. The Bucks were off last night. They set over a 4-game road trip tonight in Portland. For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, Election Day, all across this great nation. And we're talking to you, especially our friends in Virginia, the Cavaliers and the Californians, because I know you're listening to us live. A little harder here in Wisconsin. Had to turn off the radio station, but still plenty of friends listening in on the live stream at realresistanceradio.com. And for those of you listening to us tonight in Minneapolis, too late. Tell your local affiliate you want us live so you can hear the greatest radio show ever. And when we say stuff like call now at 844-967-2789, you can do so. In the big party, it's going to start about 8:01 Central Time. Dom, we're throwing a party for all our friends at the Roman Coin on Brady Street, Milwaukee. We just couldn't choose. Too many celebration parties tonight. We just thought, oh, hell, we'll throw our own.
That's nice and easy.
We know how we like to party, and God forbid, it's not a blue wave. I might be suicidal out there on the streets.
I'll give you a hug, man. You'll be all right.
I want America to give me a hug right now at 844-96-PARTY. Like political party.
Let's start with Mark. You are up, Mark from Milwaukee. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Mark from the Sac.
Oh, Mark from the Sac. Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, man, I just wonder what the polls would have said if this information about how many jobs would actually be from southeast Wisconsin there, if that poll was done, the poll was done today, because it doesn't sound like there's going to be a whole lot of guys from the southeast there, getting jobs at the plant.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah, well, there's a little difference of a few thousand miles there, but.
Mark, I could not tell you with any certainty whether or not the FoxCONn deal can be killed. But if Scott Walker's political career is dead and buried tonight, as I'm praying it will be, I sure hope FoxCONN's next, or, we get some sort of scaled-down plant and a reasonable incentive package, because it cannot be replicated effectively. When you give 17% of the wage, the state of Wisconsin would have been a lot better off to direct hire to the tune of $3 to $4 billion.
Yes.
Or spread it around to more than one corporation. Seems like you put your eggs in one basket and you let a moron governor like Scott Walker write the deal on the back of the napkin. Here's the part that no one seems to pay attention to, Mark. FoxCONn only wants us for our clean water. They only want us for Lake Michigan. How many competing states were there really? Maybe 3, maybe 4. No one wants Lake Erie water. I mean, there were only a couple competing states. Scott Walker outbid everyone massively by 2 or 3 times the amount, at least as a percentage of incentive. No one offered 17% because you can't make that math work ever.
You can't. I mean, I can't argue with. I mean that.
I don't want you to argue with me, Mark. Just say you're right, Crudy.
But Mark, you can't argue with facts.
Well, and that's the thing that bothers me. And because the Republicans will say, well, here's the fact. The LFB released this number, this report, and we're going to be paid back at 2042. But, garbage in, garbage out.
That's a terrible return, even if it's accurate.
Right, Crudy. And Mark, the problem being is the numbers and methodology, well, the numbers specifically, perhaps the methodology was done by the LFB, but Department of Administration, which, of course, is Scott Walker's Department of Administration, they provided the inputs. So when the LFB, crunches the numbers with the given inputs, they're going to get an output. And you know what they say? Garbage in, garbage out. It is a fraud what the Department of Administration, through the LFB, has provided the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin. It's not even close to 2042.
Mark, I got one last dumb analogy. Give them a hamburger today, and maybe they'll pay us back in 2042.
Hamburger, it's filet. I mean,
it's a generation's worth of tax incentives for the entire state of Wisconsin. We have got a giant albatross around our necks, and it's called FoxCONn. So while they're polluting our lakes and our airways, because part of what we didn't talk about from the New Yorker report,
the environmental,
this couldn't happen without Scott Pruitt and Trump's EPA saying that FoxCONn, you can pollute southeastern Wisconsin. Let's have more of it. I mean, it's not a good deal. It was never a good deal. The only one making a good deal out of this is Scott Walker, and he didn't make the hay he thought he would. It's too bad that Scott Walker made this big back-of-the-napkin deal, and it's all still going to lead to an electoral loss, and he's going to cry tonight. Mark, nothing would make me happier in life than to think that Scott Walker is going to tear his pillow tonight, and he's going to be inconsolable because he knows his political career is going down the river with FoxCONn right to Illinois.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Here's hoping. Hey, Mark, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Did I mention how good Fancy Brian is? I mean, I know I get prickly and I call him Gary, and that's the nicest thing I can say about him.
You're just kind of a jerk sometimes.
He is very talented.
844-967-2789.
Golf clap.
If you're
well
talented,
done, sir.
you will give us a call. Nick from Arcata, California. Hey, Nick, welcome back. What do you got for us today?
What's your talent, Nick?
What's my talent? I have no talent. But anyway, so I'm glad I can hear you guys a little better. For a while, you were breaking up. Here's the deal. California went through some changes with the pot laws and all that.
Yep.
And I'm calling you to let you know that we're all okay. Nobody went crazy. The end of the world did not show up on our doorstep, and actually, it's helped the economy. And for me personally, it's helped a lot because they're cutting back on pain meds, and I got this back that's so screwed up you can't believe it.
Yeah.
And so I'm now taking these little tabs, these pot tabs, right? And they don't necessarily kill the pain, but for some reason they make you not worry about it as much. So I don't know. It's the only option I got,
Nick, no, and then that's fantastic, man. We love to hear that, but I want to ask you, California is certainly more Democratic than Republican, but there still are conservatives in California. How is the progression of the legality of weed? Have the Republicans, have the conservatives come along, at least on the business side of it? Do they recognize that, this is not as deadly as alcohol, nicotine, or opioids? I mean, how are the conservatives taking it now?
As far as I can tell, now we're along, up here in Eureka, Arcata.
Yeah, you're a long way from the South, man.
We're a long ways from, the conservative power centers, But as far as I can tell, everybody's kind of like, I guess the world didn't end, and okay, fine. And actually, I know a few of them that are using it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, now it's not against the law. They're not worried about it.
Nick, you kind of live in the Emerald Triangle. Up there in Arcata, that's near where they grow some of the best weed in the world, right?
Well, I tell you what, yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying?
The only negative I've heard, Nick, is that there's, the cachet of the Emerald Triangle is it was illegal all this time, and now that it's legal, there seems to be some pushback on the Emerald Triangle. And what's your impression, boots on the ground locally?
Well, I think the biggest problem we're looking at from, because this was always a mom and pop operation. We didn't really have, there just wasn't any giant farms. Oh, there's a couple, pretty big operations because they were just bold or whatever. And, but still, everybody I knew grew like, I don't know, 30, 40 plants or whatever, and thought, wow, I did good.
Just call it personal use.
Yeah, personal use, right. They might want to sell a little bit, for some Christmas presents or whatever.
Yeah, some walking around money.
Walking around money, right. But, it wasn't like this a really greedy, but then it got kind of weird for just a little while, just before it became legal. We were getting murders and stuff. There was like just weird people showing up and stealing and, all this kind of stuff. And since it was an underground deal, it was, you couldn't, you didn't have the protection of the law. Really,
call the cops and say, hey, someone stole my weed when it's illegal?
Well, actually, people have been doing that now for about 5-10 years.
Nick, that was probably a migrant caravan.
Yeah, right. No, it was just a bunch of scum that, decided, well, there's money to be had up here. Half of them were just high school kids from L.A. or whatever, but that's just part of life. Anyway, so it hasn't hurt us. And, it really is not a bad thing. You just got to do it right. And I don't know if California's doing it right. And I'm a little nervous about these giant mega farms that are eyeing, Humboldt.
And pharmaceutical corporations like Bayer. And, of course, Big Tobacco. Big Tobacco wants a piece of marijuana because not as many people smoking themselves to death anymore. Apparently you can smoke as much marijuana as you want to. You never die. Or so Dom says.
Yeah. Well, actually, isn't there some proof of that? Haven't we been studying a few people that have been smoking all their lives?
I've been smoking for 35 years, and I keep a diary, and every day I write down still alive.
Very good. Very good.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it, man.
844. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, man, go ahead. Go.
Like alternate numbers. 844.
844-967.
Apparently that's not our talent.
89. Let's keep going on the phones. Pizza Box Mike, you are up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got for us today?
Well, I know we need a holiday for elections.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what it's like to try and score some recreational on Election Day? This is terrible.
Strangely, I do.
Or something. Actually, that's a good sign, though. That means that all of my buddies are out voting today. And I know how they're voting because everybody wants it made legal.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't know that I had a tumor on my kidney, and they wondered why I didn't feel the pain. Well, we know why that is, guys. 42 years. And I'm still feeling pretty good. And if it wasn't for that, I probably would have got sick. Who knows?
Pizza Box Mike, we had former Attorney General Eric Holder in the studio this morning on Sherwin Show and in the lobby. And my little buddy Dominic took a marijuana picture with Eric Holder. I found it somewhat ironic.
Did he inhale it? Eric Holder, that is?
No, we weren't smoking. I just got my normal
Did you offer?
On. No, I didn't offer.
How do you know he wouldn't have?
I don't.
I do know Obama said that, that was the whole point, was to inhale it. So, now we know how he got elected twice.
Right. Thanks, Pizza Box. Mike, we always appreciate it,
You
man.
just got to be on the right side of the right issue. And we are finally, Dom, on the plurality.
We're not like cutting edge anymore, man. We used to be so edgy, and now we're just
we
like
push that
middle.
edge over to like 70% acceptance. That's about as big as our audience, about 70%. And the other 30%ers, they're dyed-in-the-wool, Trump-loving, Scott-wanker voting losers from the WOW counties.
How do you really feel about it, Curdy?
I don't like them so much.
Not so much? Come on, man.
They're all going to cry themselves to sleep tonight.
No, bring them over, man. Show them the light. We'll start with the weed. You'll put down the booze. Smoke a little weed. You'll lighten up. You'll love us even more.
I'll be magnanimous starting tomorrow.
No,
but
you
first,
won't.
I'm going to dance on Scott Walker's grave, politically speaking. Kiss my butt, Walker. I've had enough. It's been a long time since the Dems had any control in the state of Wisconsin. And I tell you what, I made a little investment trying to change all that. They better not let me down. I'm talking to you, Tony Evers, I'm talking to you, listeners. You got one segment left. 844-967-2789. Polls closing on the East Coast soon. Party starting soon. Your calls next. Right here. Devil's Advocates, Real Resistance Radio.
All of this extraordinary progress is at stake. It is at stake. I'm not on the ballot, but in a certain way, I'm on the ballot, so please go out and vote. Go out and vote.
Well, what the hell are we supposed to do, you moron?
Hey, everyone. It's your nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes. I know I don't need to tell you what's at stake with this election, but I want to talk to you about my friend and running mate, Tony Evers. Now, I've gotten to know Tony over the last couple months as we've crisscrossed the state. I've seen his resolve and his dedication to solving the problems Wisconsin faces, especially when it comes to access to quality, affordable health care, protecting our environment, and making sure that every kid in Wisconsin has a great public school, regardless of their zip code. But Tony and I can't win this election alone. We need your help to talk to those that might still be on the fence. So whatever you can do will help. Knock on doors, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family. When we're fighting to take back the state from Scott Walker and the special interests, every little bit helps. You can make the difference in this election. So visit TonyEvers.com and sign up to help. It's time for a change. And that's why Tony for Wisconsin paid for this ad.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The big and tall of political talk. Tom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day, last segment of election midterms, November 6, 2018. You can join us on the phones. Be part of the celebration. 844-967-2789.
Still got 3 hours to vote. Like 3 hours and 15 minutes till the party starts, but you only got one segment left to call us. You better do so now. Let's get to them.
Wisco Paul, you are up. Thanks for calling, man. You coming down for a beer at the Roman Coin tonight, Paul?
That's a long drive from the Madison area, but hey, thanks for taking my call.
All right.
I'm still a little nervous, but hey, workers from China, is that like a caravan? Is that?
I like the way you think, right?
Yeah, FoxCONn is a joke. Workers from China. Hey, the rules are a joke. I've been saying that for a year. Hey, but the one thing is that the Affordable Care Act, that's not a joke. He needs to end this lawsuit. So, hey, anyway, God bless the Milwaukee voters. It's a good turnout. Maybe they can save Wisconsin. I sure hope so.
God bless us, one and all. All of us, dim voting, cannabis legalization. You know, the good people, Paul.
Hey, what do you think? Tony by 1%? I'm hoping 1%.
I'm hoping Tony by 12.
Well,
I'm looking for a wave, man. I'm looking for a tsunami coming down, crashing down on Scott Walker's ass. I'm looking for this man to be unelectable ever. I hope he couldn't win a job as dog catcher after the humiliating defeat he goes through tonight. You know, but maybe I'm just projecting, Paul.
Yeah. I'll take the 1% because 2022 would be a long, long time with this guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
1% would probably hurt worse because it wouldn't be done till like midnight, and then Walker would be calling the lawyer saying, "What about a recount?"
Come on, Paul. Thanks for the call, man. A win's a win's a win. You take it. It's time for Walker to go.
I'd prefer an ass-whooping sort of win.
I'm with you there, man. I know a lot of folks who were unconstitutionally arrested at the bequest of Governor Walker are also feeling the same way. 844-967-2789. Paul from Milwaukee, you are up. Thanks for calling, Paul. What do you got today?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're a little breaking up here, but anyways, I was thinking of coming to the party tonight.
Do so. No place you'd rather be, Paul, than a Devil's Advocates party at the Rub a Coin.
Yeah, I think I'll buy some lakefront beers for everyone. How's that sound?
We'll take them.
Paul, you seem like there's a butt in there somewhere, like you're a conservative and you're only coming if Scott Walker wins. What's the butt?
Anyways, I have an interesting anecdote for you. I was fishing with my conservative buddy a couple weeks ago, and guess what he pulls out when we get there?
Some weed.
Yeah!
So he's a good conservative buddy.
And he taught me the finer points of different types of edibles for different parts of your body. So that was interesting. But I prefer the smoke, which is nice.
And as do we, Paul, as do we.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll see you tonight, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to Walker getting his ass kicked. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I want to hear, Paul. I love you, Paul. I love you, man.
Thanks, man. We do appreciate it. Come down, party with us at the Roman Coin 801 this evening. It is an election night party. It's a political party, just the way the Devil's Advocates do it.
I hear Paul's going to be there as well.
Hey, we're going to have 3, maybe 4. Brian, you're going to go, right? 844-967-2789.
I'm worth 2, buddy.
Right. I think this guy might be there. Curtis from West Allis. How you doing, man? What do you got for us today?
Hey, Curtis.
Hey. Yes, be happy, people, because I'm telling you right now, I delivered to 12 MPS schools today, and the auditoriums are full of people voting.
Nice.
So it's nice. I'm really disappointed in you guys because I've been singing my favorite song all day today. Every time I go any of my buildings, I sing my favorite song, and you guys didn't even record it and play it.
Is it profane, Curtis? Can you sing it on the radio?
No. Glenn Moore sang it at North Division High School, and you guys recorded it, and you never played it.
What do you mean we never play it? We played it yesterday, Curtis.
You know,
You just got to listen for 3 hours a day, and you will get everything you need.
You heard Glenn Moore singing I Got the Scott K. Walker Blues?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we played it yesterday.
Curtis, the other day I saw...
Wait.
Cause Scott done me wrong. I got the Scott Kevin Walker Blues.
Yeah, is that what you're looking for, Curtis?
Hey, listen, yes, but listen, I will donate. If you play that tomorrow, I will come down there with a check for the people, and you put that on the commercial. I'm saying we should have nonstop. But I was singing in the auditorium when I was walking in, and I started laughing. And I'm like, I got the Scott K. Walker Blues. Yeah.
You know, Curtis, if Walker, through some act of Satan, wins tonight, we're going to play the Scott K. Walker Blues on a loop from here to eternity.
Oh, don't even, no. No way. Another thing I promote, too, whenever I deliver my schools today in the auditorium, I was walking through singing my Scott K. Walker Blues, and then I said, I told the lady today, I said, did you hear what happened? She says, what? I said, I tell you what, we got the Men in Wisconsin. She goes, what's that? I said, well, you know, Will Smith did the Men in Black. Well, we did Men in Wisconsin, baby. Show them where to go.
Tony and Mandela, all they lack for is the black suits.
And the sunglasses. Thank you, Curtis. A few more minutes left.
Real quick, let me tell a story on Curtis. Saw him at a political rally the other day. We were at the AFL-CIO. I believe Elizabeth Warren, the headliner. Curtis showed up in full legalized cannabis regalia.
Yeah.
I mean, a costume. He was a big pot plant.
Of weed, yes.
They made him take it off before he could come in the room. That's a little sad for Curtis.
Betsy, you will have the last word today. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us today, Bets?
Hey, Betsy.
Hey, guys.
hey, Wisconsin is going to go back to the Wisconsin ideas of all coming together because we're better than Skywalker, and I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a windfall for all of us. I think we're going to defeat Skywalker and get our Wisconsin ideas back, or ideals, or whatever, you guys. And you have saved Wisconsin. I want to thank you so much for all that you do to inform our whole state. And you guys are just so in my heart. I'll be there in spirit with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Betsy. Very kind words. We appreciate it.
Dominic also offered one more sacrifice on behalf of our audience in the entire state of Wisconsin.
Which was?
With the success of Tony Evers, Dominic has offered to be the weed czar of the great state of Wisconsin.
I will serve the people of this wonderful state. It would be my honor.
That would be your highest and best use, if you know what I'm saying. Want to thank all our fine guests today. Once again, they were Joe Zepecki, DIM strategist from Zepecki Communications. Terry Regano, she owns the Rubicon. We're going there soon. Chris Walton, chair of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County. Dan Kaufman, an author and a fine contributor to The New Yorker. Did Scott Walker and Donald Trump deal away Wisconsin's governor race to FoxCONn? Well, the polls close in about 3 hours. The beer starts flowing shortly thereafter, and we will find out the answer to that and all the important questions. Have a great night. Go vote if you haven't voted, and then come party with the Devil's Advocates at the Rubicon.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Germans? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
Rebellions are built on hope.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes.